Hello and welcome to the BSR Simmortal Porsche Cup, and we're here at Le Mans for quite a special event. It's a 2 hour race today. We'll get into more of the complicated stuff, but yeah, that's kind of all you need to know at the moment. 2 hour race today, unlike the normal three races, and it's going to be a bit of a different challenge, Ryan. And of course, of all the circuits to do this format round, Le Mans is quite a fitting place.
Yeah, absolutely, Sammy. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, Le Mans tonight with it being a 2 hour race. I think it should be. I think we could be in for a cracking race, and also the strategy tonight. I think will be up in the air. I mean, there might be a few people might try and pit early and go out. They go off sequence with pit strategy, or people might try and go as long as possible and just try and save as much time by not having to pit early. So yeah, different strategies in there, and hopefully with the long straights as well, we should be in for some action-packed racing.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. Personally, I did commentate on Kias round here before, but never in kind of Porsches or GT3. So this will be very interesting. But like you said, that slipstream effect is going to be very strong around here. The race will be divided into three sections. We'll have stages. So anyone who knows about NASCAR and whatnot. And the World GT series as well, actually on a Monday night, will kind of know how this works. So you get the points at the end of 40 minutes, at the end of 80 minutes, and at the end of 120 minutes at the checkered flag. So that'll be very interesting to see. Maybe drivers will stay out for a little bit longer, potentially try to save a little bit of fuel so they don't have to make a pit stop before a stage. Of course, I'll put them a little bit further down the field. We'll just have to wait and see how this one turns out. But it should be very, very interesting. We have got a car just the wrong way round down the second Mulsanne straight. But currently in the championship, after a bit of controversy last week, we won't go too much into depth in that. But Chris Wood leads the way. He's only 16 points clear, though, of Jamie S, who's kind of just been Mr. Consistent so far this season. He's also a Pro-Am driver. Ronald Means is in third. Well done to Ronald. Really has been excelling in this Porsche car, and he's up into third position in the championship, only 25 points off the lead. Then behind that is Max Wright, another driver who is excelling this season. Then it's Dennis Melcher and Lee Deemer rounding out the top six. Kip Stevens is just missing out at the moment, also with Michael Blake as well. So yeah, certainly heating up very nicely at the moment, the championship. And we've seen a couple of fantastic rounds at Snetterton and where were we last week? Imola, Brian. And yeah, like you've already said, I think it's going to be probably the same today. It looks very close at the front of the field currently.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at the field so far, and the drivers that have turned up tonight. I think we could be in for a battle at the front of the field, at the middle of the field, and at the back of the field as well. So yeah, I think as I mentioned earlier, the racing should be really close. And yeah, judging by tonight at the moment, I think the man in form at the moment is Mr. Kern, who we're watching on the broadcast at the moment.
Yes, has actually won the last two races. It was an incredible drive actually at Imola to win that race. I was editing a bit of a video just to sum it up, so keep an eye on our Facebook page if I ever get round to actually completing it. But it was an awesome drive, one of the best races I've ever seen, certainly in this series. And yeah, so he's won races 2 and 3 at Imola. And well, we'll wait and see if he can back it up today. He's a little bit off pace though in qualifying. But he is now finishing his final lap, so be easy to miss your apex around this part of the circuit. And yeah, Prince Kern is just going to approach the line now. Was on a 2-minute 1.203. And yeah, not sure how he's doing. No, so he was in the pits. I think I was following someone else. But Michael Blake is also coming around the lap now. And he was in P9. Where is he now? Oh, he's up to P6. Hold on, Michael Blake. And yeah, that is a very good start in place. But of course, qualifying arguably pretty pointless in this race. Well, I say pointless, but compared to maybe normal race ones, it's not quite as important.
Yeah, I think around a track such as Le Mans, qualifying doesn't really matter because you've got as I mentioned, you've got the long straights. So there's always that chance of being stuck in someone's slipstream or being stuck in a pack. So yeah, if even if your qualifying doesn't go doesn't go really well, there's always a chance to make up for it in the race with the slipstream and just keeping out of trouble. So yeah, we'll see how some people might not be qualifying well, but with it being a 2 hour race, they'll have plenty of time to try and gain some places during the race.
Yeah, absolutely. The checker flag, by the way, did come out. It feels about 10 minutes ago, to be honest. It's a long lap, so they got plenty of time to complete their lap time. Ashley Jacobson just coming across the line. He was on a 2 minute 5, and I don't think. Oh no, he did improve. To be fair, by 6 tenths of a second. Did not put him any higher though. Then 15th place, Max Wright. Now, is this his in lap, or is this actually? Another lap. He's the only driver along with Sam Kume still out on circuit. Sam Kume is a little bit further around the circuit. Max Wright has given up on that one. And we'll wait to see if our own Sam Kume, I say once again, he didn't have a great race or great do races at Imola, Ryan, but for him to jump into a car as difficult as this and be on the pace, he's currently on the front row on the grid, very admirable.
Yeah, so, Sam's been doing a great job so far in the series so far, considering he's not really, from my understanding, he's not really raced that much lately. So yeah, I think he didn't have the best of rounds at Imola, but it wasn't terrible either. So he still scored some points, I believe. So yeah, it's not too bad, and I think for to be on the front row at the moment is actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will be quite biased towards him, but we can be, I guess. Sam, yes, Kume still going around there. So, wow, so he is going to get this lap in. I'm surprised he must have literally crossed the line as the checker flag came out. It must have been that marginal. If so, he's absolutely nailed this. And I don't know if we could just go on board with him going into the Porsche curves, but a legendary sequence of corners coming up, Ryan. It's pretty narrow around this next part of the circuit, and in this car, it can understeer, it can oversteer. It's pretty difficult to balance, especially when you're running as little wing as these drivers are.
Yeah, I think the Porsche, excuse me, the Porsche curves is one of those sequence of corners that you've got to try and get right on the lap. If you can nail the Porsche curves on your lap and get it spot on through every apex, not every apex, every corner of the Porsche curves, then you could be on for a good lap. And at the moment, the other Sam seems to have nailed it. So hopefully, it could be a good lap.
Yep, just approaching the final few chicanes. Is this the Ford chicane? I'm not
It
sure.
is.
It is cool. Okay. And yeah, final chicane. Now he doesn't take too much curve, does he? And it's just a very kind of controlled final sector. I'd say very impressive there from Sam Kume. And he crossed the line, and he didn't go any faster. He actually went 4 tenths slower than his fastest lap. We've got 30 more seconds until the session will advance. But yeah, Kume, the last driver to set a lap time out there. And a lot of drivers failing to actually put in a lap time. It's difficult with the slowdowns, especially around here, Brian. And I don't think Apex Racing TV have ever covered a BSR event where we haven't seen slowdowns on the opening lap. And once you get them, it can absolutely destroy your race.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done, excuse me, I've done a few races around here, around Le Mans, and it's one of those tracks. If you get it right, it's a rewarding track. But if you say cut the corners too much, especially both chicanes on the Mulsanne straight, if you take too much curb on the entry or too much curb on the exit, you can get a mega slowdown, and around Le Mans, it just that can just sometimes it can ruin your race. But sometimes in a longer race like tonight, it doesn't it won't be it won't hamper you as much.
Yeah, certainly those drivers though will be hoping not to pick up any of those fails on the opening lap. We'll just go through the grid quickly. It's Chris Danes on pole position. Well done to him, 6 tenths clear of Sam Kume. George Simmons and Firenze can make up the second row, with Dennis Melcher and Michael Blake taking up the third row, and the rest of the field I'm sure will come through for you now. Very loud planes here, very, very loud planes. And yeah, they are currently deafening me a tad, but they are just completing their little flyover. And yeah, what can we expect maybe for the front of the field in this one, Ryan? Who's your money on for this race victory?
It's so tough to call with it being a 2-hour race, but judging by the form last week, my money as it stands has to be on a Ferenc Kern.
Could be a very good call. Starting on fourth on the grid. On pole position is Chris James. We're just waiting for Anthony Jacobson and Kip Stevens. It looks as though Josh Thompson, David White, and Daniel Kirby aren't going to be able to take the start, which is a bit disappointing. Very odd. You can see there's a car just in the middle of the circuit there. Very odd gridding up process around this circuit. Ought to have a longer pit straight, really, shouldn't they? But there you go. They are queuing round the chicanes currently. And yeah, Anthony Jacobson still not getting onto the grid. It looks as though he might miss out here because we've only got one more second and he isn't going to take the start. But Chris Danes, he won't care about that. And we are away here at Le Mans. 2-hour race. And Chris Danes gets a very nice launch, but Sam Kume is going to be challenging him into turn one. And in this first corner and the first chicane as well, you can go for moves. Can't leave the front of the field. Not too changed. And Chris Danes taking a very good line there. Sam Kume taking a defensive line from the Jazz just behind him. Prince Kern is
George
almost
Simmons is
out
up
there
to
and
third.
he can
Oh,
make the contact with a driver there. And I think it's Dennis Melcher who's dropped down way down the field. Brent Kern right to the mid pack as well. We wait to see how much damage that car has got, but not a good start for him. But out in front, Chris Staines already a second clear of the rest of the field.
yeah, I'm just watching Kern at the moment. It looks like he's got to slow down because he's going slowly and letting these guys by. But yeah, just watching the replay back, and it looks like Kern and Melchart just got caught up with each other, just due to the concertina effect into turn the first corner. But yeah, everyone made it through. So yeah, so far so good.
Yes, such a risky kind of zone that Anthony Jacobson now taking to the start. That's a bit disappointing. Maybe he just didn't want to maybe start with the other drivers that may have been wide. A bit of a battle here between Moons and Hefford. Moons very high up in the championship. He'll just be hoping to pick up a few more points. Steve Hefford was very impressive at Imola. Just made a couple too many mistakes, which maybe yeah, denied him a race 3 victory. Got very close though between Kume and Simmons. They're already 1.7 seconds behind Chris Danes in the lead, and clearly George Simmons feels the need to go for the move right now if he's going to have any chance of this race victory. It's also side by side just behind with Moons actually, sorry, Michael Blake now attacking, but down into the second Mulsanne chicane, and Kume has to back out of it. A little bit cautious there from Sam
Oh,
Kume.
just
He's
watch.
still in third,
Oh,
and there's
bit
a
of contact
contact
between
here
Ayers and Hall.
between
Hey,
Ayres
Blake.
and Blake, and now all of a sudden Hall and McNally are going to get involved. And here comes
Oh, 3-1.
Michael
Oh,
Hall, and we are going 3 wide, entering Mulsanne corner here. A fantastic shot of these cars roaring down this legendary straight. And it's all
oh,
about
don't do it,
kind of
boys. Don't
backing
do it.
out. Who is going to back out here? At the moment, no one. And just round the outside there is Michael Hall. He could go up 2 positions in the space of 1 straight, and that is what he has done. And a
Oh,
big
contact
contact
behind.
behind. Carl Hardy. And I think it's Kern again.
Aye, what happened there?
We just saw that in the back shot. And yeah, better get a replay of that one, I think.
That was like watching a game of pinball.
Also,
Oh,
I don't know
oh,
what Hardy's done there.
I think Hardy just, I'm not sure what happened there. It just looked like he just, under braking, he just pressed the brake, or I don't know if it was too much brake pressure or, but it just looked like he snapped on the rear. Oh yeah, Kieran just had nowhere to go.
Well, from going from one of the favourite sprints Kern for this event, he's right down the field now, and it's not looking good for him whatsoever. That could be his chances of a decent position, really wrecked, and that's not going to help his championship challenge either, because he's outside the top 6 currently. Of course, the top 6 get into the showdown, and he's a little bit distant of that at the moment, so he needs some good rounds, and this certainly is not going to be one of them. But we are just concluding this first lap. Jamie is still putting pressure on Michael Hall, who's up 4 positions from his race start. Really efficient start so far from Hall.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was about to say as well with Kieran Kern and Hardy, they've got. I think if I'm correct, they've got to remember there's no fast repair. So if your car gets damaged, that's you. That's your race basically screwed up from here on in.
Yeah, I've just yeah, no pass repairs. I thought maybe getting one for this event at least, but no, very harsh on the organisers clearly, and yeah, that's really ruined their races. Unfortunately, this car can stick to some bumps. It's not too kind of aero dependent, but yeah, with the damage that Fiorenza's now got, that could be his race over. Adam
Yeah.
McNally is right on the tail of Steve Ho. He's up places, and this is a
McNally's under
fantastic
pressure from
battle.
Dale. McNally's under pressure from Wood.
Yeah, Wood is going to go round the outside. You can muscle your way round here, and actually leaving room there is Adam McNally, but he got a very good run out of that corner.
Yeah, I was worth a shot from Wood, but I think with it being a 2 hour race, I would maybe, if I was these guys, I would maybe just settle down a little bit first, just get into a rhythm and into the groove and just take it easy. But hindsight is a wonderful thing. As Haynes is going for a move on Flanagan.
Haynes is up 11 places. There was a driver who just completely jumped the start, and judging by the amount of positions different drivers have gained, I wonder if it was Richard Haynes. It was an absolute incredible. I don't know what was going on off the start, and yeah, Haynes. Well, at the moment, he can't get the move on Jim Flanagan. He's been very impressive so far this season. Cone flying in the air. You don't want to do that too much because it can get wedged in your splitter. Just to borrow some Max Wright going that battle.
Yep, yeah, we're just looking at Kern in the pits at the moment, Hardy in the pits at the moment. So I wonder if that damage is maybe gave them a meatball. As Jamie Ayres is up the inside or trying to hold off Hall at the moment.
Oh,
Oh,
Hall
how
is going to be
fun!
round. Oh, so frustrating for Michael Hall. Remember, he started in 8th place. He was up into the top 4, but now he's fallen down the field. What far better state than a lot of other drivers who started around him. But here was the instant. Maybe just getting on the power a little bit too early, I wonder.
Yeah, I'm
No,
just
it was
watching
just
it.
an over rotation, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just looks like he tried to get out in the power when he was on the curb. Yeah, I think he tried to take too much curb and it just unsettled the car a little bit, and he tried to get on the power. So yeah, but his race is not over yet. There's still a long way to go. So you can possibly try and get back through the field as we're watching Scott Malcolm go up the inside of Max Wright.
Yeah, the two team mad drivers going at battle currently. And also, Big Cullen up 10 places. So, how, yeah, that was, I'm very confused now. So, Haynes is up 14 places now. And yeah, that's up into P9. Well done to him. And of course, yeah, a couple of other drivers doing very well. Ronald Moon's up 2 positions, but he's kind of stayed out of trouble. Richard Haynes, though, looking really close on the inside here, and he's going to go down the inside. And there's
Oh,
contact
contact!
between the two of them, and that was very ambitious from Haynes. And the driver who profits from that is always Vic Cullen.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Haynes was doing there. That was a bit of a dive bomb if I say so myself. Yeah, that was a bit like watching Mr. Bean driving.
I will certainly let him know that you called him Mr. Bean later on.
My pleasure.
Well, Michael Hall is trying to gain an advantage from this. Remember, he was spun earlier on in this lap, but you can see that he's still running in the top 10 currently. And Haynes, after a great momentum at the start of this race, going up 14 places with ease, seemingly, has had a bit of a stall out there in terms of his progress. Out in the lead is very, very close, and a driver actually into the pits is...
It's Haynes, I believe.
Oh, it is Haynes. Very early.
I wonder if wonder if he got a slowdown possibly, and maybe if he didn't clear his slowdown quick enough, and this gave him a penalty. I'm not sure,
Ooh,
but
potentially, yeah.
because I know around Le Mans sometimes if you don't get the slowdown cleared quick enough or in time, it gives you, I believe, automatically gives you a penalty. Yeah, we're watching Moon's on Hall at the moment. Hall's up the inside.
And Hall gets the overtake done on Model Moons. We were just looking at the top three who were getting quite close. Unfortunately, Sam Kumas just had a bit of a poor first sector, lost half a second to the two leaders through the first few corners, but this one heating up quite nicely, and Jamie Ayres still very much in there as well. Was faster than the race leader on that last lap, but George Simmons was 1.1 seconds faster than Chris Danes on that last lap, and yeah, it will be very interesting to see if you were Simmons in this situation, Ryan, would you maybe be saving a little bit of fuel, or would you kind of be using this seemingly pace advantage to go overtake and make a bit of a gap?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, judging by the lap times at the moment, Simmons seems to be quicker than Danes at the moment. So if he gets a run on Danes, he could try and go for the move. As yeah, he's not going for the move. So I guess Simmons is more than happy just to sit behind and fuel save at the moment. So yeah, it's still early days in the race. So I think if I was Simmons, I would be more than happy to sit behind and just fuel save a little bit.
Yeah, it's clearly his tactic. Of course, we'll want to get ahead by the 14-minute mark. Oh, Jimmy Ayres just with a bit of an issue here. He was within 2 seconds of Sam Kuma. He's lost about 2 seconds in the space of one chicane. And now it's Michael Blake who's going to try to benefit from this. Starts in sixth place, did Michael Blake, and he's going to the outside here into
Here's up the
Mulsanne corner.
inside.
Blake is very ambitious here. Ayres a little bit cautious, and Blake is going to
Oh,
go all the way
nice
around the
defending,
outside.
Blake.
He's got a better exit as well, and he should be able to establish that fourth place. But Ayres is going to try to come back into Indianapolis.
Yeah, that was really good. That was good defending from Blake under brake, and he just braked a little bit later and got the run on the outside of I can't remember what corner that is. Arnaz corner, I think it was, or no, I can't
I think
remember.
it's Mulsanne corner.
Mozan
I
corner,
think,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, it was good defending from Blake as Ayres is up the inside into Indianapolis.
Or just losing out there is Blake. So, yeah, Ayres takes back that position very impressively. And now Blake is having to defend currently from Chris Wood, who's having a very good run. Starting in 18th place did Chris Wood. Failed to get a qualifying lap in. And, well, he's been making up for it since then. But you wonder where he would have been if it weren't for that. He is already about 10 seconds off the race lead. You would not count him out of a podium late by the end of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie Ayres is one of those people. He's always been quick in in any BSR series, and I think tonight I wouldn't rule him if he keeps out of trouble. I wouldn't rule him out of finishing on the podium or even taking a win. So, yeah, still a long way to go, but good run by Jamie so far, and up to P4, and hopefully he can try and catch up to Sam Kubo.
That was a very wide line there from Jamie. As I'm just thinking, is he going to get a slowdown here? We'll have to
Slowing
wait
down
to
a little bit.
see. Yeah, he is slowing down, and that could cause issues for the two drivers
Look up
behind
that side,
because
Blake.
Michael Blake has been overtaken by Chris Wood, and that's a fantastic move from Wood. I don't think he cut the circuit, so he should be okay.
Woo!
And
You're
there
safe,
is the
Chris.
slowdown there then for Jamie Ayres. It shows how punishing the slowdowns are around this circuit. He's really slow on the inside, trying to lose as little time as possible. You can see he's still trying to serve it, just having to lift out of the throttle ever so slightly. And he's dropped 2 positions, which he fought so hard for just a couple of corners prior.
Yeah, it's just an example. Is who's this? This is Hall going up the inside of Cullinan. So yeah, the Hall up into eighth place. Yeah, it's just I was just saying it. Getting a slowdown around here that can just depend on what part of the circuit you get on. It can seriously compromise you.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of run up areas here are very tempting. It's difficult to keep the car within the white lines. Really ought to have some kind of better curbing or something, even if it was something artificial on iRacing, because the slowdowns are very, very punishing. And still Chris Danes, though, leading the race. He's 4 tenths clear of Joy Sims. This gap kind of just expanding and contracting quite a bit. It's sometimes within 2 tenths of a second, sometimes it goes up to about 9 tenths of a second, but it certainly seems so George Simmons is kind of controlling that gap, how close he is to the car ahead. Dane's on that last lap was 3 tenths faster, but yeah, these top two very evenly matched at the moment. You can see that slipstream effect. It's a little bit OP in this Porsche. You don't expect that gain down the straight like this, but yeah, Sims is going to make the most of it, and currently he's saving quite a bit of fuel, which could be very helpful later on in the race.
Yeah, I was just reading the YouTube chat at the moment, and Diego Melro from Team Mad was saying that on the straights that they can't overtake on on the straights because of in this car that the car does red lines and hits the rev limiter. So yeah, it's yeah, the gearing on the Porsche, from my experience, it seems to be a little bit short. So on the straights, if you're stuck in a slipstream, it can redline. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and yeah, of course you can't even change the gearing in this car. It's a fixed setup series anyway, but you can't change the gearing anyway, even when it is open setup. So uh, yeah, these drivers don't really have any control over that. And thanks for that little bit of an insight there, Diogo. That will be an important factor in this race, definitely. And it does certainly show that maybe sticking behind for George Simmons is the better choice currently. They are dropping Sam Kumo by about a second a lap. Currently, Kumo still in the running, but is dropping back a little bit currently.
Yeah, so Sam's having a good run at the moment. He's not really he's not dropping off these guys quickly, but he's not. Yeah, he's dropping off, not really dropping off these guys, but he's also sticking with them at the same time. So yeah, if Sam can just try and stick with these guys a little bit, just keep them in sight, then you never know. He could be, if these guys have issues, he could be up there and possibly pounce and maybe pick up a couple of places.
Yeah, it's certainly got to be his mindset currently with 1 hour 45 to go. It's weird doing these types of races, I must say, because yeah, we're used to this basically being the last couple of laps by now, but instead, it's yeah, we've still got a while to go in this one. A long way to go for all these drivers to make a couple of mistakes potentially. Jamie, yeah, still trying to retaliate against Michael Blake. These guys have been battling against each other for about a lap and a half, and I think if you go wide enough through that corner, you can actually get a slowdown as well. So he doesn't want to get another one, Jamie S, but he is looking quick. And yeah, if he can just cut out these couple of errors, he could well be fighting for a top four. Steve Hefford is trying to get involved just behind. He is lapping faster than these guys currently.
Yeah, I was just about to bring up as well. Steve Efford is not far behind these guys. So if these guys in front of him, if Ayers, Blake, or Wood get any slowdowns or make any mistakes, like run wide on a corner or get a slowdown, basically, Hefford could be there to pick up any place he's going and pick up some freebies. So yeah, just I'll keep an eye on Steve Efford.
I always see that Momo livery and just think of Crystal Palace. It's just that's the color scheme. I didn't even like football, but I just naturally think of Crystal Palace there, and it's very off-putting. Michael Blake, yeah, is still under pressure from Jamie Ayres, and with that slipstream effect, I don't know if we could just go on board with Jamie Ayres, kind of see what Diogo was talking about in terms of the red lining. Of course, we can now see the gears, very thankfully, with a recent update. But there you go, he's in the rev limiter, and all of a sudden that acceleration gain is not there. And he will look to the inside, though. He's not confident enough on the brakes. You don't brake that much into these corners. They are pretty fast chicanes. And yeah, that's just the frustrations for these drivers today, I think.
Yeah, I was just I was listening to listening to the revs on the straight there, and yeah, just like you, I could hear the the rev limiter bouncing like crazy, and it kind of just compromised Jamie in a straight line. But yeah, he's got a running Blake now, and Blake Ayers is up into fifth position as a head up to the second chicane on the Molesson straight.
Nicely done from Jamie Ayres, and now we wait to see kind of what Michael Blake does.
Oh,
Oh,
airside lane.
really out of shape. It's a good save, but it's killed his momentum, and it's mistakes like that which have cost him so far. A little bit of damage you can see on Michael Blake's car. And if anything, that
Blake's got
closing
a
in
running
speed
airs.
isn't quite as strong as before. Michael Hall's had another spin just where he spun earlier on. Jamie Ayres is still hanging on for fifth place, and for now, Michael Blake is just going to wait behind, but yeah, if we could get a replay of that Michael Hall spin, he's had 2 spins so far. And from running in fourth position earlier on, he's kind of wrecked his race here.
I'm just watching the replay now. yeah, Hall just went straight on at the second chicane, and I think he just carried too much speed. So I think, yeah, Michael Hall just done the sensible thing of just going through just going through the tire barriers at the second chicane and just letting it go straight on, which is which was a sensible thing to do instead of possibly trying to spin or crash.
Yeah, he lost 2.5 seconds because of it, but yeah, like you said, it was probably worth the worth the cost. Considering he lost about 10 seconds earlier on with a spin coming out of that corner. Lake isn't giving up on this one, but you can see the amount of time now that they've lost to Chris Wood, who's kind of romped off into the distance. He's 2.5 seconds clear of these guys now. You wouldn't bet against Jamie as making up that gap, but Chris Wood, well done to him. Up 18th place start. He's up into the top four. Super impressive. Looks strong for a podium potential by the end of this race.
Yeah, I was just about to say he's gained excuse me, he's gained heaps of positions, and at the moment he's having a good run. And if he keeps going the way he's going at the moment, I think he could be up in the top three in no time if he can close the gap to Sam Kimmel. So yeah, just wait and see what happens as yeah, Ayers and Blake are still closely together as they head up to the Ford chicane, and Ayers dives into the pits.
So, this is the first front runner that we've
Oh,
seen come
Ayers
into
wide
the
at the pit
pits.
entry.
I think he'll get away with that one. It's almost a bit of a separate racetrack, isn't it? You don't want to leave anything on the table, and you would have taken a bit nice of a curb here. You don't want to get a penalty, obviously, coming into the pits. And yeah, that was pretty much nailed there by Jamie S. And also, is that Steve Hefford into the pits and Rafe Cullinan. So I
Yep.
expect to see a couple more drivers in soon. I was expecting maybe 3 pit stops across this race. And well, we'll have to wait and see if that's the case.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's a bit early. It's a bit early for these guys to be pitting, but it brings me back to my point at the start of the broadcast that with it being a 2 hour race, people, all these drivers will be trying different strategies, and I think Ayers, Hefford, Collin, and Wright and Taylor. I think maybe they're trying to go off sequence and maybe try and get in some clear air and just gain some track position.
Yeah, certainly worth trying something a little bit different. And yeah, that could really help them in the long run. Also, of course, I've got to remember, every 40 minutes is when the points count. 40, I think it's basically, each 40 minutes is basically the equivalent of a normal race, if you get what I mean. So, I think it's 150 points for the race victory normally. So they'll get 150 points if you win after 40 minutes, 150 points if you win after 80 minutes, and then yeah, another 150 at the end of the at the checkered flag. So yeah, we'll be interested to see if anyone kind of changed their strategy around that. Costain still holding on against George Simmons, and Simmons just very happy to stay behind at the moment. They are working very well together currently, Ryan. And well, Sam Kumo just making a couple too many mistakes. Is now 7 seconds off the two leaders.
Yeah, he's dropped some time and yeah, 7 seconds behind, and also Wood in the background is closing in on Sam Kumo as well. So yeah, we could be on for a battle for third place at the moment, and maybe not even a lap or two's time, maybe even possibly soon heading up to the Porsche curves.
So Haynes, remember, pitted really early on in this race, and he is now behind Rick Cullinan.
Oh yeah, just watching, looking back through the field, it looks like Ronald Moons has had issues.
Was having a good race so far, Ron Means hadn't put a foot wrong, but here is his mistake.
I just lost under brake and just got sideways on the entry of the corner and just nothing major. Managed to get going again and still in the race.
Jamie Ayres and Tristan Bottas going wheel to wheel. According to my screen, Bottas has already pitted. Yeah, he's already pitted apparently. I don't think that's the case. I'm not quite sure, but Jamie Ayres is making that move right now. Oh, sorry, Jamie Ayres on Max Wright. Apologies. Max Wright apparently has also come into the pits. I think that was very early on, around the same time as Richard Haynes. So I don't know what's happening with these strategies currently. It will just have to play out through this race.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. Oh, both
Oh,
leaders are in the
both of them.
pits. Den's in the pits. Simmons in the pits.
So the battle for probably the first 40 minutes of this race. And yeah, let's see if either of them maybe take a little bit less fuel than they were maybe planning on doing so, just to get a bit of check position.
Yep. Just yeah. Kumo's in the pits. Wood in the pits. Blake's in the pits as well. So yeah, top five are pitting at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see if these guys, as you say, if these guys will if all of them will under fuel or maybe take fuel on tires or just fuel only.
So remember, Danes was ahead before the pit stops. Will he be ahead coming out of this pits? Should be about 33 seconds in the pits. That's what we've had so far. And Danes is currently 20 seconds stationary. So we'll have to wait and see. These drivers won't be taking tyres, I believe. And is that
Simmons
Timo?
has jumped in.
And Simmons is, yeah, way ahead. That's 10 seconds shorter than every other
I
driver,
think
seemingly so far.
judging by Kumo's jumped Dens as well. Yeah, it looks like Simmons took not tires only, fuel only, or might have under fueled.
Well, that's by far the shortest pit stop out of any drivers. Chris Danes with quite a long pit stop. Maybe he was taking tyres. Maybe you're right there, Ryan. And it's lost him 2 positions. Now, how quickly can he get this move on Sam Kume? Because it's important that he doesn't lose any more time to George Simmons, stuck behind the Finnish driver.
Yeah, I think if Danes can keep with Kumo on the exit of this corner heading onto the Mozan straight, he could get the move done heading into the first chicane. But Kumo's stretched that gap a little bit, so yeah, I wonder if Danes did take tires because he was a bit. I was watching him a little bit. He looked a bit sketchy.
Yeah, I might just go back in a second just see if he was up on the jacks or whether maybe it was even a pouncer. I doubt it was for him, but yeah, we'll wait and see. Danes, yeah, he wasn't even that close to Kumo down that first straight. He is a little bit closer down this second, though. Within 0.3 of a second already. Kumo not trying to break the draft, seemingly. And Danes is just edging closer now within quarter of a second, now within 0.2 of a second. But it's when does he get into that rev limiter is the important part. Within 1/2 of a second now. So difficult to dive down the inside of an opponent into these chicanes. And still Chris Danes is losing crucial tenths behind Sam Kuma.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just watching. Ooh, as Danes get sideways on the exit of the chicane. Yeah, I'm just looking on back up at the front with George Simmons. The gap Kumo to Simmons at the moment is, if I'm correct, in the lifetime, and is 11 seconds.
Yeah, it's quite a hefty gap, isn't it? So yeah, Simmons had a super quick pit stop. I'm just looking back at Danes' pit stop. I don't think he did take tyres, you know. I don't see him going up on the jack. So, yeah,
I, I,
potentially.
would, I wonder if he took a full tank of fuel or if he just filled it right up because yeah, that was a massive amount of time that Simmons gained in the pit stop. So I'm guessing anyway, if someone's in the chat and they want to correct me if wrong, but I'm guessing that Simmons the short fueled and Danes possibly just brimmed it right up with fuel.
Yeah, I think that's most likely the case up there.
Is yeah, just watching at the moment. Wood heading through Indianapolis at the moment, and he's not too far behind Kumo and Dunes as he watches a battle with Hefford and Kip Stevens and Dennis Melcher. Not no, is it Dennis Melcher? I have no idea.
Oh, Hepburn
Oh,
wide.
Hefford sideways.
Oh, he saved it well, to be fair.
Oh, go on, son.
Is that Kip Stevens in the number
Oh, it's Deemer.
in the
Sorry,
yeah, number
sorry.
18 card just behind us? Kip Stevens, seemingly.
Yeah,
Really close between second and third, so.
yeah. I was just going to say it's close between Kumo and Dunes again. Is as they head through the Porsche curves, and yeah, yeah, Danes is just hounding Kumo at the moment. I think it's just a matter of time before Danes gets by him.
Yeah, I think so. He's itching to get past currently because Kumo's, well, from what we learnt in the first kind of stint of this race, he's about a second a lap slower than Chris Danes. So all this time he's losing now. He's now 12.5 seconds off the race leaders. Chris Danes is not working his way at the moment.
Yeah, I think that I'm just looking at the gap again with Simmons. He's just basically Simmons after the pit stop. He's basically like a horse and just galloped away.
Yeah, he's taking full advantage. We wait to see if maybe Christian's got a strategic card up his sleeve, taking that maybe a little bit more fuel in that first pit stop. But at the moment, it certainly does seem like George Simmons has got control of this race. Once again, Danes not close enough. Coming on to the Mulsanne Straight, he's a lot further back than he was on the last lap. And on the last lap, he didn't even get that close to a race to an overtake. And yeah, whilst these two are fighting, Chris Wood making up a little bit of time. You can see him just behind in the Team Mad Cut. Good to see. Well, according to my screen, 5 different teams in the top 5 in this race so far, with Michael Blake in 5th place representing Simmortal. And if anything, Kuma now a second clear of Chris Danes. Danes, well, this one's really not going well for him now.
Yeah, just watching the replay now. One of the team mad cars having issues on the pit entry. Who is this? Is this Melcher or Malcolm? It's Scott Malcolm. They haven't gone really slow in the pit entry, so I don't know if he's ran out of fuel or. But yeah, Scott Malcolm was a bit slow in the pit entry there.
Disappointing for Scott there. Hasn't exactly been agreeing with this car so far, but full credit to him, he's stuck with it and has certainly had some pace advantage, pace increase. But yeah, unfortunately today it's not going to be a good result for him. Still, Kume a second clear, and if anything, improving his lap times a little bit. He is still slower than the race leader George Simmons. At least he's cutting out those kind of half mistakes he was making earlier on. And Danes, well, he's got to kind of think of a new solution to this conundrum.
Oh, yeah, watching the replay. If issues for Steve Hefford under braking for the first chicane on the Mulsanne Straight. He just under brake and the rear end snapped and around his car went and just slightly tapped the wall. But yeah, Hefford's got going again and currently P13 at the moment. No, P14 now. Sorry. As yeah, I'm looking at a SpongeBob SquarePants livery on the broadcast for some reason. But I like it. Oh, it's awesome.
Wait, so who's that? Is that...
Is that Dennis Melcher? It is.
Oh, it's disappointing. I'm seeing the grey livery. Oh, well, I'll see that.
Oh, it's on my end then. I forgot to put the paint file in. My bad.
Well, Kip Stevens dropping down another place. He's down to 13th position now. Because every driver now has made a pit stop, and we're not too far away from the 40-minute mark, which is when the points will be distributed. I don't know whether it's on exactly 40 minutes. I doubt it. I assume it'll be the lap ending. I assume it'll be 40 minutes, and then whatever lap that's on, that at the end of that lap will be the result. But Sam Kuma, of course, he'll be wanting to hang on to that second place for as long as possible. Would be a good points haul.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just looking at the gap now. Back between Simmons, excuse me, between Simmons and Kumo. Sorry, the gap at the moment is 13.7 seconds. So yeah, George is just absolutely bolted.
On that last lap, 4 minutes, 0.85 for Simmons. 4 minutes 2.46 for Sam Kumo, with Chris Danes about a tenth slower again. Daniel Taylor, haven't seen too much of him today, and well, we didn't really want to see him doing that, unfortunately. Daniel Taylor, though, still having a decent race. He's up 7 places from his start in 15th position currently, although he is now a minute and a half off the race lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just that. Yeah, he's having a decent race so far. As just watching the Ferenc Kjær at the moment, he's currently running in P. He is currently running in 20th position, and yeah, I think for the rest of the race, from Kieran's point of view, it's just a matter of just driving around doing laps and just salvaging any points that he can get.
Yeah, unfortunately, that damage on his car seemingly cost him about 4 seconds a lap because he can't seem to get out of the car in the 2 minute 5, 2 minute 6 range when these drivers are doing, doing 4 minute O's, 4 minute 1, 4 minute 2s. Kumo, a little bit more under pressure this time going into the second chicane. Is it going to take something a little bit brave from Chris Danes at this point now, Ryan, if he's going to go for the move? Because he's not looking too adventurous currently. He seems a little bit reluctant to kind of go for a dive, but it is difficult to do around this Le Mans circuit.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation to be in. I mean, you're stuck behind someone that clearly judging at the moment. It looks like Samueli's quicker than Chris in some places, but on the stretch it seems to be Denges quicker than Shamuli through the Porsche curve section, and just gains back on him. So if I was Chris and I was right behind Sam, if I got the run on Sam, I would probably try and make a move into one of the hairpins, or even into turn one.
Yeah, it could be a good opportunity here. He was looking down the inside there, Chris Danes, but around so many of these corners, it's kind of just a gentleman's agreement, I think, not to go side by side because it's a little bit suicidal to do so. And so one driver's got to back out, and well, so far it's been Chris Danes always the one a little bit more sheepish and yeah, blinking first. Cullinan and Haynes very close between each other, and also Ronald Moons having another issue at that same Mulsanne corner. And well, last time it was a simple carrying too much speed, turning in, and the rear end lost it. This time he's missed the braking zone
Yeah, he's
almost
done it again.
completely, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah, but he's I think yeah, he kind of done a donut there. So yeah, fair play. Is yeah, just looking at Max Wright as well into turn one, and yeah, Max Wright just goes for a spin in turn one and just loops it round. As yeah, Dens is right behind Kumo again into the Ford chicane. So yeah, he's always seems to be close for the section, but it just seems to be Samuli just seems to get a better run in the exit and pull away slightly.
Yeah, now all of a sudden that gap back up to 7/10 of a second. It's all these. It's a handful of corners that are properly important in this battle, and Kumo is faster through all of them. I think it is Arnage going onto the Mulsanne straight where he seems to have a bit of an advantage. And here's Carl Hardy. He's had a bit of an issue, so a lot of Joe's struggling. Currently got on that
Yeah,
curb,
bounced off
and
the
he's
curb.
avoided the wall, fortunately.
Yeah, it just looks like Carl tried to get back in the power and going over that curb, it makes the car bounce, and yeah, just just bounced on the curb and got just spun it round. But yeah, nothing major, and he's managed to get it going again. As
Haynes.
yeah, oh sorry.
So I was just going to say, Haynes getting very close to Kern, and they've been close to one another for about a lap and a bit now. Haynes with a couple of mistakes earlier on. They're both up 14, 16 positions respectively. And I think we may well see a change very soon because Haynes was half a second faster on that last lap.
Yep, Haynes is right behind Cullinan, and if Haynes can stick with Cullinan through this right hander and get a good exit, he could possibly try and make a move on him. But yeah, that was a little bit untidy from Haynes there, and Cullinan's just able to get away slightly and just make a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, it's just a little, not quite flowing enough, not quite leaving on the tyres enough on that corner exit there was Richard Haynes, but he was very close coming onto the straight within 0.3 of a second. We've seen kind of getting onto this milestone straight, you kind of need to be within about quarter of a second though, if you're going to get alongside. And you can see this time he is not close enough, and these drivers kind of wisening up to maybe not getting into the rev limiter too much. It's all about lining up the next straight, but this time he's even further back as Richard Haynes, 3.5 tenths behind now, very much finding the same issues as Chris Daines is up ahead.
Yeah, it's just see, it's on the straight. It's just these guys when whenever they get a run and they're right behind someone, it's kind of, as soon as they try and get a chance, as Samuli gets a little bit sideways there. Yeah, it seems to be in a straight line. Whenever these guys get a run, as hinges up the inside of Colin and up into sixth place.
Well done to Richard Haynes out there. It's really close now between Kume
Dane's got a run on Kumo.
And Daines is going to go alongside now, and he will just nudge his nose ahead. Will Kume stay alongside going into this next couple of corners? Kume round the outside, but he is just going to slot into position. Chris Daines up into the top two now. He's nearly 15 seconds off the lead. Chris
Oh,
Wood
went
off
off
in
at
the
the back round.
background, and he's nearly hit the wall, but he has avoided it. But Sam Kume, it was decent defense for a while, but he knew when to give up the fight there.
Always would get sideways on the exit there. Yeah, I was I was great respect as we look at a replay of Wood going through Indianapolis and what's going to happen. It just looks like he carried too much speed on the corner entry and he just misses the wall.
Very Harry currently driving from Chris Wood. He is still in that battle though for that second place, and would not be surprised if he goes and closes in on Sam Kume in the coming laps.
Yeah, I was just saying about Kumo and Danes and Kumo as well. Yeah, heading up to Indianapolis, there was a lot of respect between them. They left each other room on the run up to Indianapolis, and yeah, as soon as Danes got in front of Kumo, Samuli just backed out of it and done the sensible thing and didn't do anything. Oh,
Oh,
something's happened to George Simmons.
he has dropped out seemingly. George
Oh
Simmons, what has
no!
gone on here? And I forgot to mention that. That was the 40-minute mark. So Simmons, oh, he's still out there. Fortunately, what was going on
Oh
there?
yeah, that was a bit weird.
Well, he has just won the 40-minute for the first stage of this race, 14 minutes in, and he was leading. Chris Daines will get second place then, with Sam Kumo third, Chris Wood in fourth. Then it's Michael Blake, Richard Haynes got ahead of Vic Cullinan in time, Jamie Ayres, Ronald Means, and Tristan Bottas rounding out the top 10. But very nearly there for George Simmons. That could have been his chances of stage 2 and stage 3 victory completely gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Simmons connection they dropped out there for a minute, but yeah, that was a bit of that was I'm not sure what was up with the live timing there, but yeah, yeah, Simmons still out. That's weird. The live timing says he's out again, but that's weird. But anyway, yeah, it was bringing me. I was saying with Sam, Samuli Kumo and Danes as well. They left each other plenty of room on the run up to Indianapolis and gave each other plenty of respect. And Samuli done the sensible option and backed out of the move when Danes was ahead into Indianapolis.
Yeah, that certainly was the best thing to do for Sam Kume. Yeah, Simmons dropping out occasionally. He'll be hoping that it's nothing more serious than, yeah, a couple of these dropouts. It hasn't lost him any time. He's still 15 seconds out in the lead. But yeah, he does not need any more trolls. According to a message you put up on the chat earlier on, this is my first Porsche race, so apologies to all who I ruin. Well, it seems as though he's going to drop everyone down a position soon. He's going to win this race. So yeah, very impressive debut, seemingly, for George, and certainly haven't seen him in this series before. And he's very much fitted into this car very well today, the boosted motorsport driver.
Absolutely, as the two team mad teammates are going at it. Tristan Bottas and Dennis Melcher are going at it for P10 and P11. So yeah, it looks like Bottas has just decided to back out of it and yeah, heading into this chicane. And uh, yeah, it just proves as I said earlier that this series is always there's always battles going on through the field. And yeah, at the moment it's still good to see plenty of battles through the field at the what are we at now, the 44 or 45 minute mark.
Yeah, and this one, just getting better and better, seemingly. Because Kumo, despite kind of me thinking at least, that, oh dear royal moons, oh dear, he does not like this corner. After having pretty much a completely unproblematic race, he's made 3 mistakes at this same corner, and he just keeps on going in too hot there, Ryan.
Yeah, I think he's got I think he's got dreams of becoming a rally driver. The amount of times he's went into the gravel. As yeah, Steve Hefford and Kip Stevens are battling for P12 at the moment, and Hefford gains a position on the run up to Indianapolis.
Can Stevens retaliate here? He is still only we are 1.5 tenths behind on corner entry here, but yeah, he's just too far behind. And Steve Hefford with a couple of issues already today. Can't remember his most recent issue. I think he just spun at like turn one, didn't he, or something? And he is recovering though. He got a little bit of damage on that rear wing, as you can see. It's not meant to be like
Oh, I
that.
thought he was going to hit that wall there.
It's a terrifying corner, isn't it? Because you get onto that artificial grass, and it can very much drag you into that wall.
Yeah, absolutely. That the exit of that corner there is if you if you run too wide, and if you run too wide, you can possibly clip the wall, and possibly you can get some major damages. Hefford runs wide slightly on the exit. I mean entry of the Porsche curves.
I am actually just getting a map now so that we can figure out what all these corners are called, because I think we all know what they're called. I can't put them to the right but to the right section of the circuit though. Yeah, but yeah, that will be very helpful to the end of this phase. 9 tenths of a second now. 1 second now. 1.1 seconds down to 1 second. Between Chris Daines and Sam Kume, taking very different lines there. Kume very slow in, a little bit faster out. The gap was up to 1.1 seconds mid corner, but just on corner exit, he's got it down to 7 tenths of a second now, and that slipstream also helping him along as well. Chris Wood on that last lap was the fastest driver in the race. He was in the 4 minute deads for only the second time in this race. And he was, well, 1.4 seconds faster than the driver currently in second place. So, well, whilst we haven't got a really close battle for the race victory here, Ryan, this battle for second place is certainly making up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems the Danes and Kumo, sorry, seem to be.
Was that Kamuli?
Oh god, I've done it again. Yeah, I mean Kumo.
There isn't another Queen song called Kamuli, is there? If there is, then I am certainly getting that.
Yeah, it was, you're just looking at a replay now of who's this? This is Jim Flanagan, getting a slight run on the entry here, and yeah, pulls off and escapes into the pits, I believe.
That was Arnage, according to my map.
Ah,
The one going on to Le Mans is Tête Rouge. So yeah, these names come back to me, but I always forget them every time I come here. But yeah, we will. I'll try to figure it out by the end of this race. Going into the second Mulsanne chicane, is Steve Hefford. Is he just got ahead of? No, so he's still behind Kip Stevens. What Stevens got back ahead of him? So Stevens
yeah,
actually
Stevens has
there.
got back ahead.
Yeah, so Steve, I don't think that was a mistake either from Hefford. That was just Stevens passing him fair and square.
Kubo's right behind Dens again into through the Porsche curves, and yeah, it seems to be these guys are they've got they seem to gain an advantage on each other through different sections of the track. It seems to be through this section, Kubo just just each time on Dens through this section here, and then on the straights, it seems to be Dens pulls away ever so slightly.
That little bit. Ooh, onboard lap now coming up for, and now that I know these corner names, I can sound say I know what I'm talking about. Going through these final chicanes, of course, and yeah, you kind of got to get a good exit going into turn 1, which is Corb Dunlop. That's in French, by the way, so I assume it's just Dunlop curve. And of course, not flat out through these in these cars, and very difficult braking zone for this next chicane. Valer, oh dear, I can't even pronounce that. I thought this would work. It's just making me look even bad. But now, going through this next section of corners, uphill into this next one, a little bit of banking as well, and it's all about just nailing this exit nice and early for the power on for Sam Kumo. Don't run too wide, very much narrows this part of the circuit. Now, Techno Rouge, I know this one, and well, now it's just a long old straight, isn't it, going down into the first chicane. Currently, the gap between these guys, 8/10 of a second. Actually, Chris Wood has just dropped back, and significantly as well. He set the fastest lap of the race just prior to that, but he's now 5.5 seconds behind. You can see Kumo making up a bit of a gap here, down to 7/10 of a second, but they're already into the rev limiter, into the first Mulsanne chicane. And you can see how he takes a little bit of a slower entry, but very much nails the exit. And he's just gained about half a tenth on Chris Danes, which will just increase that slipstream effect. And he's now getting within about half a second of the car ahead. This next one, pretty much identical to the first one, but of course the other way round. And he's almost close enough to go for a move. That's the strength of this slipstream effect. And again, you can see him a lot earlier on the brakes, but just taking a little bit more curb and a lot neater just on the exit there. And it helps him on the exit. Still within half a second. He's not going to be close enough into Mulsanne corner, though, to go for an overtake. But he is within 4/10 of a second. I wonder if Danes has got a little bit of damage, if anything, because you can see the amount of time Kumo is gaining extremely difficult on the brakes. This one, he got braked so early going into the kink. Really narrows as well. You don't want to hit that cone, otherwise you can get a bit of a slowdown. And yeah, finally, this another long straight here. Next up will be the Indianapolis S's. And if anything, Kumo might go for a move here. Closing, closing, closing. He'll be able to go side by side, potentially, into Indianapolis here. Sam Kumo looks to the inside, but of course, you can see not much of a braking zone whatsoever through this one. Bit of a banking round here. And next up, Arnage for these jars. It's a very terrifying corner, really, because it's if you mess up the braking here, Staines is almost done. You can see how close you can get to that wall there, which very much sticks out from the circuit. Kumo couldn't really profit from that because he couldn't quite get close enough. But again, that straight line advantage for Sam Kumo heading into these Porsche curves. But once you get into these Porsche curves, it's very much single file. It does open up on corner entry here, though, so you can maybe go for an overtake. It's all about just keeping the car nice, neat and tidy, get nice and close to this wall if you possibly can, across this part of the circuit. Now, much more run up on the outside there. And Kumo just losing a little bit of time through this SS section, but he's very neat and tidy, as we can see. Just losing a little bit of time. And then, of course, it's the 4 chicanes just coming up. Those chicanes called Maison Blanche. Of course, I did get a D in GCSE French. I think that means White House. Final corner. Not too much curve through these drives, and there's a very poor lap explanation of Le Mans.
I thought that was pretty good.
Thanks for the line. No.
Is it? Oh, is it? Oh, oh, that was so close to hitting the wall. Who was that? Was that Daniel Taylor? I believe. Yeah, it was Daniel Taylor. So yeah, that was he done well to keep that at the wall. As we look back up to towards the leader at the front, George Simmons. Yeah, he's got a lead of he's got a 16.8 second lead to Danes at the moment, and he's just at the moment he's just not had any troubles and having a good run so far. So yeah, good run for Simmons, and I would at the moment don't rule him out of winning this race.
Yeah, we are waiting for the next pit stop. So these drivers last pitted on lap 6. That's how far they got earlier on. They are now on lap 14. Oh, wow, that's confused me. That's really confused me. Oh, okay, so it's fixed setup, isn't it? So they can't change. So yeah, that makes sense. So they started this race not on full fuel, I think, and now they can brim the tank if they feel like it. There isn't any maximum fuel, is there? Now looking. No, there isn't. Okay, so yeah, so these next couple of stints are going to be a lot longer than their first one because their first one they were limited on fuel, but these next couple aren't. Seemingly, Simmons isn't putting out that much of a gap on these drivers currently, but it is plenty enough. We wait to see if that extra fuel from Chris Danes he took on earlier
Oh,
is going
come
to
on,
help him
wide.
as Kumo's very wide, and that could even be a slowdown.
Yeah, it just looks like Kumo could have he might have possibly just carried too much speed in the middle of the corner. Maybe just tried to get in the power too early, and he just or maybe just got sketchy in the middle of the corner and ran wide. But yeah, that was it's cost Kumo some time as we look back through the field, and Hereford is still behind Kip Stevens, and he's got a run in Stevens, but he might hit that dreaded rev limiter early on the straight.
Yeah, should be able to hear it in a second. I think he's already on it. Yeah, there you go. You can just hear that rattling almost heading down that straight. And oh, it must be so frustrating for these drivers just to get into that rev limiter every single time. And a little bit squirmish on the exit there for Steve Hefford. It's almost as though these Mulsanne straights aren't the best overtaking spot on the circuit, Ryan. Because if anything, I'd say maybe turn 1 is a better chance, or even Indianapolis.
Yeah, absolutely. As because look at a replay again of is that Daniel Taylor again? Yeah, yeah, it looks like Daniel Taylor just going for a run through the gravel again. Yeah, done a mistake at the same section a lap ago, and he's just done another mistake on this lap as well. So yeah, not the best of races for Daniel.
Yeah, after a relatively instant-free kind of opening part of the race, he's made a few mistakes. Anthony Jacobson is another driver who has seemingly made a mistake. First Mulsanne chicane. And yeah, just too much speed going into the corner. And we've seen that a lot, I'd say, today, Ryan, where drivers have just broken a little bit too late, carried too much speed on the entry to a corner, and that's caused the rear end to get ahead of the front.
Yeah, it seems to be some drivers are just trying too hard or trying to carry too much speed into the corner when they should maybe use that old driving technique of slowing fast out. But yeah, some of these guys need to remember as well that this car is not like the GTE Porsche, the Porsche 911 RSR. It's not got downforce any or tons of downforce like the GTE car. This car is kind of there's hardly any downforce at all. So it's all down to the driver and just kind of you've got to be smooth with this car. As a yeah, Daniel Taylor spun in the background again.
Feel like we're picking on Daniel Taylor a little bit, but thanks for. I think this might be Taylor's first. No, it's not his first race of the season. I think he's done one before. So this isn't bullying or anything. Please turn up for the following rounds, Taylor, and hopefully, yeah, maybe you'll be able to eradicate these
Ooh.
mistakes. Kip Stevens a little bit slow on entry there into these Porsche curves, or Steve Hefford was just mighty as he looks to the inside again. And well, you can't go for
Ooh,
an inside
Effort
hit.
was a bit wide
Lots of
there.
different lines you can take. You can take a slightly kind of arcing line there. Take a slightly, yeah, go wide on the mid corner. but right now it's not enough for Steve Hefford to go for the overtake. And all the way down these straights, it's not really a big braking zone at the end. Even these chicanes are very fast flowing, but very much single file as well. And you can see how Stevens just builds a bit of a gap going onto the pit straight.
Yeah, it just seems Stevens has just managed to get away slightly. Like Hefford was a bit, Hefford was a bit just wasn't just missing some corners slightly, and just wasn't really tidy.
That wasn't particularly tidy there for Stevens either, just running a little bit wide on the entry to that one. I'm really... Oh no, that's Dunlop chicane then. Okay. It's in the next... Oh, I don't even know. I'm not probably not even going to challenge it too fair. But that first chicane that's Dunlop chicane. That's what I thought it
Yep.
was.
Yeah,
I thought
turn
it
one
was
is
something
Dunlop
else.
chicane.
Yeah. Well, turn one is Dunlop corner, and then the next bit is Dunlop chicane. Got me very confused. Kip Stevens, it's still, Steve Hefford really closing in 0.2 of a second now between these two drivers. Fabrications versus Momo. And
Yep.
I think I asked you this last time, Ryan, in terms of kind of Steve Hefford's driving style, and I think he said he's not a reserve driver, but he's very much he rarely makes contact with another driver. From your experience, at least in the MX5s.
Yeah, Steve Hefford is one of those. He's really quick. He's a quick driver in the MX5, and yeah, I've had some battles with him in the past, and I wouldn't say he's overly aggressive, but he's one of those. How can I describe him? He's one of those. When he needs to, he's one of those drivers that just goes balls to the wall, if you like.
Yeah, I think this is one of those times that he needs, because also they've got Lee Deemer only 5 seconds behind. You saw him on the back of that shot. In fact, it's not even 5 seconds. Steve Hefford. Well, that was very nearly round for him. Wonder if these tires are getting a little bit old for these drivers now. And that could be compromising them a little bit. But Steve Hefford there, all out of shape there, coming out of the second Mulsanne chicane. Yeah, leading him now within 3.7 seconds. He was half a second faster on the last lap. Also, Tristan Bottas, only 4.5 seconds ahead of these guys. He was over a second slower on that last lap. So, must have been a mistake there for Tristan, unless that's his normal lap times. In fact, it is. He's in the 4-minute 7s consistently. That's in comparison to the 4-minute 4s of the drivers around him. So, yeah, impressive that Tristan's that far up. Hasn't made a mistake so far. And that's the reward. He's currently ahead of drivers who are 2 seconds a lap faster than him.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, Tristan Bottas is doing a good job at the moment. He's ahead of Stevens and Hefford at the moment. They're slightly quicker than him and not far behind, and they're just in the picture there. So, yeah, good job from Tristan Bottas at the moment. And at the moment, he's having a good run up there in the 11th place at the moment. And if anyone, if he keeps it clean at the moment, and any other cars in front of him have any issues, he could be there to pick up a few more places.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in terms of these fuel loads. Still no drivers have come into the pits. We're waiting for the second round of pits. So, Viv Cullen, has he made a mistake here? Heading into the Ford chicanes? And yes, he
Oh,
has.
that was a bit of a unusual line, if you like.
Oh, driver into the pits. Dennis Melcher.
Dennis Melcher in the pits.
He last pitted in. I can't see when he last pitted in. But he is into the pits now. And also, Tristan Bottas as well. And Kip Stevens. No, he's not. That was my screen wrong. But yeah, him and Melcher and Bottas into the pits. Maybe that's a sign that we are getting to that stage now with 16 minutes to go in this second race. Remember, at the end of the with 40 minutes to go, that will be the end of stage 2, and some more points will be distributed then.
Yep, absolutely. Just looking back up at the front, Wood has caught right up to Kumo, and he's putting Kumo under serious pressure. But in turn, Kumo has caught slightly back up to Dens as well, so we could be on for a three-way fight for second place.
Yeah, this one's been coming for a while, hasn't it? But Wood has just made a couple of mistakes. He had one lap, which, well, just looking at it, he's been setting lap 11, 4-minute dead, lap 12, 3-minute 59, lap 13, 4-minute 6. So he threw away 6 seconds on one lap. Maybe it was a slowdown, I'm not quite sure. And that cost him so badly. We also saw him have a bit of an off as well. And if it weren't for that, he would have caught these guys a while ago. But he's onto the back of them now. And we wait to see what he's going to go for. A move. He has been
Ooh.
the fastest driver out on circuit in recent laps, as Chris Wood. Where will he go for the move out on this circuit now?
Yeah, if he can get a good run on the exit of this corner here, he could get a run in Kumo, and he's got a run as they head up to the Porsche curbs.
Into section now. Can Sam Kumo fend off this attack? It's less than a tenth of a second between the two of them. Wood is almost going to
Wood
go
is up the inside.
to try to go on the inside now into the Porsche curves. Can Kumo resist this one? He is going to try to. He's going to stick around the outside, but Chris Wood is up into the podium places now.
Yeah, that all started with Wood getting it, and Wood getting a good exit on the exit of that hairpin there, and he managed to get a run in Kumo heading up to the Porsche curbs and got up the inside and managed to make the move stick. And yeah, Woods is absolutely charging towards Dens now, so we could be on for a fight for second place between those two in a matter of laps or in a matter of time anyway, as Simmons is in the pits and Kumo's in the pits as well.
Okay, so Danes, remember, he had a much longer pit stop than these two drivers. You question, is Chris Danes going to go many laps further than these drivers? Hopefully he will, because we want to see a close race. Chris Wood stays out as well.
Yeah, I'm just like, whoa, Jesus. Chris Wood just done a 359.3 as he crossed the line.
Ooh.
Bloody hell.
That is nearly a second faster than any other driver today. That is the amount of pace that Chris Wood has got today.
Yep, if he can keep putting out laps like that, or maybe try putting out laps maybe in the 4:00 range, maybe sometimes, and try and go as quick as possible before he pits, he could possibly gain some time in the pit stops.
I think Steve Hefford having a bit of an issue. I could not see that one. Ah, here it is. And yeah, just running a bit wide there. Sorry, I didn't actually see that.
I thought he clipped that wall there.
Oh, okay. Well, he's already got a bit of damage on that guy, Steve Hefford. Still behind Kip Stevens as well. Tyres for these two drivers then. So, yeah, already Simmons is out. Kumate's still on the Jacks. It was how long was Simmons stationary for? 1 minute 1. Kumate still stationary, 57, 58, 59, a minute and 1, minute and 2, minute and 2. That was incredibly annoying there, that voice. 1 second longer than George Simmons, but it doesn't really matter in the context of it. So, yeah, we will have to wait and see if Chris Danes and Chris Wood take title later on.
Yeah, just watching these two now. Wood is right behind Danes, and looking at the lap times, Wood is the quickest car at the moment, judging by that 359.3. So, yeah, as Wood's got a run in Danes heading down to this corner.
Oh, side by side going into Mulsanne corner. Danes felt the need to defend. Don't take each other out, guys. Wood is round the outside. He's made the apex. He's a little bit wide.
Oh,
But Chris
beautiful.
Wood has taken the race lead. He's gone from 4th to 1st in a matter of a lap. Chris Wood, absolutely a man on a charge right now. Can Danes retaliate, though? He was 2/10 of a second behind. He's now only 1/10 of a second behind. Can he look to the inside? Remember, we've got a kink here. That's very difficult to go down the inside there. He might go for the move into Indianapolis, but he probably does the wise thing, just staying behind. And yeah, we wonder if these guys will come in on this lap.
Yeah, I think. Oh, Dane's got sideways there. Jesus. Oh, that made me clench. As Wood runs wide, oh, he just avoids the wall.
They're making mistakes right now, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely pushing so hard at the moment, and I think these guys, I think judge them if they're pushing this hard at the moment. I think they're pushing, trying to gain as much time as possible before the pit, and I think they could be pitting this lap.
Certainly Wood, I would bet, is going to hit on this lap. Danes, of course, yeah, he took more fuel in that first stint. And the question is, how much further in this race will he be able to go? We've got 11 minutes until the second stage finishes. Wood up 17 positions. He's maybe not going to cross the line as the leader, unfortunately. He certainly deserves it because his pace in the last half an hour has been absolutely superb. Will he go
Will they
into
go
the
into the
pits
pits?
bit on lap 17?
No,
No, he stays out.
but the only downside to staying out though, if these guys are battling away, this could give. Oh,
Oh,
Dave
Danes has
won!
spun it. Oh dear, Chris Danes. Well, we saw him, yeah, potentially throw away. Well, he spun on the last lap at Snetterton in race 3. He's come ever so close to race victories today throughout this season. I don't think he's claimed one yet, and that's just put a whole lot of trouble in this race.
Yeah, I'm just watching the replay now, and it looks like Den's just tried to get back on the power too early while still going over the curb in that final corner, and it just the car was bouncing over the curb, and he tried to get on the power, and he just ended up spinning round. So yeah, he's lost some time, and I was about to say if these guys are battling away, this could give the chance for George Simmons and even Kumo to jump them in the pit stop.
Well, thankfully for Chris Wood, all very wide there for Jamie, as that's
Whoa.
going to be a slowdown. That was very problematic for George Simmons. Remember, the virtual race leader. And he really needs to make sure he doesn't get involved in any instance with these drivers right now. He's next up will be Rafe Cullen. He's 5 seconds ahead. That'll be the only driver who'll have to overtake before the everyone else pits.
Yeah, I'm just watching now. Yeah, Simmons just has to make sure he doesn't get caught up in any incidents or make any mistakes or get held up behind slower cars. But I mean, if he wants to try and make sure he jumps wooden dens in the pit stop, he just has to keep it clean as possible and put in consistent laps. I think could the end of this lap we could see Wood and Dens in the pits. So, but it'll be interesting to see if they try and short fuel.
Yes, certainly. Remember, well, everyone's so the drivers who have pitted once so far, they've got to pit 2 more times. Drivers who have pitted twice already will have to pit one more time. At least that's what I infer from this. Sam Kumo, of course, yeah, he's already made 2 pit stops. Next up on his list, Ronald Moons, who has well, he hasn't liked Mulsanne Corner. That's very much sums up his race so far.
Oh, that
He's
might be
not
a
liking
slowdown.
Techno Rouge either currently because Sam Kumo has just overtaken him on the exit. That was very nicely done from Kuma. He seems to be very strong around that corner. He held back Danes earlier on, thanks to his speed that corner. And there, that was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, uh, Sam seems to be really strong for that corner. He always seems to get a good run on the exit of that corner, and yeah, managed to get set up the run to get by Moons, and yeah, by Moons into the first chicane and up into P7.
He's got Jamie as 22 seconds ahead. That's not going to be an issue for Sam. It's just about trying to stay ahead of Chris Wood and Chris Danes. When those guys come into the pits, so you can see they're still a little bit away from the pits. Just coming up to the Mulsanne corner. Spence Kern, well, he's had a problematic race so far already. I wonder if he's had another issue out there.
He just lost under braking into the Dunlop chicane, and yeah, just got sideways, and yeah, he's managed to keep going and keep out the way, getting back on track. But yeah, it seems to be one of those races for the to forget for Frank.
Credit to France though for staying out there because he's losing about 3 seconds a lap because of that damage, and he's soldiering on. Is even though he's not going to finish seemingly even in the top 18 in this race, but still some handy points which he desperately needs if he's going to qualify for the showdown. This is the closest battle currently going on out on circuit. Dennis Melcher and Max Wright, quarter of a second between the pair of them. Also, Chris Wood, has he stayed out on track? I think he has.
Yep, still he's
Yes.
heading into the Dunlops again.
He must be carrying some petrol in his pocket, seemingly. He's gone that far. Chris Danes also stayed out.
Yep, I'm not sure though. I think that this is the wrong way of strategy to go for a wooden dents. I mean, they they could be losing time with Simmons and Kumo being on fresh tires. They could be gaining heaps of time on wooden dents.
Yeah, that's a good point. You wonder, is Chris Wood, because his pace is so good still, is he even going to change tyres potentially? That would be a little bit, radical, but it's probably going to be his only chance of winning this race. Uh, yeah, only he will know with that one. Chris Danes as well. Last roll of the dice, really, after that spin earlier on. And Cullinan and Ayres into the pits now. So Simmons won't have to pass Cullinan. That'll be a bit of a relief for him. Cullinan was running in 7th place earlier on. I think Jamie Ayres was just behind him as well. So they should come out. I don't even know where they'll come out. About 10th place, I imagine.
Yeah, Cullinan and Ayres should come out round about probably. My guess is probably depending on how long the stop is and what they do. I'm guessing round about P9, P10 will probably be where they come out.
It's kind of insane to see the field spread out on circuit. We've got about half a lap between the leader and these two drivers, so it's quite difficult to keep track of in terms of yeah, who's kind of coming into pit when. But yeah, Chris Wood and Michael Blake. Sorry, Chris. Oh, what's going on? Sorry, Chris Staines. Where is Chris Staines at, mate? Chris Staines pitted, did he? No, sorry, that was my time screen messing up. Apologies. He's still in 2nd place. These guys, yeah, half a lap to go. When will they pit? That's the question. We are only 4 minutes away now from the second. I forget what you even call them, but the second race thing. And so there will be points distributed in a matter of 2 laps, I think. Yeah, won't be at the end of this lap, but at the end of next lap. And so this tactic could work very well because I think Chris Wood is going to probably pick up 150 points in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, just watching Chris Wood just heading up to the Porsche curves now. Now the question is, will he pit this lap or will he try and go as on as possible? My guess is if he doesn't pit this lap, he'll pit at the end of the next lap. As we watch Steve Hefford headed up to the Dunlop chicane, wonder what happens here. As yeah, Hefford just runs wide at the Dunlop chicane and spins it.
Started a decent day for Steve Hefford, but unfortunately, just a few things going against him. Looking at his lap times, he's yeah, kind of dropped off his pace compared to where he was earlier on in the race. So a bit disappointing out there for him, but well, yeah, even if this is a bit of a write-off, he's certainly shown promise throughout the season so far. Of course, he's very talented driver, as we've seen in
Wood in
the
the pits.
MX-5s. And Chris Wood is into the pits now. So just short of that threshold of 40 minutes to go. And he is into the pits. Question is he ahead of Sam Kumo?
Yep, just keeping an eye on Wood to see what he's doing, and as Kumo heads up to Indianapolis, he's yeah just heading up to Indianapolis now. What will Wood do? Will he take the fuel and tires or just fuel only? Yeah, I'm not sure what I would do if I was Wood.
Well, if he wants to win the race, he won't take tyres. If he's happy with second, then he probably will take tyres because on pace he can get second place quite comfortably. But I don't think on pace he's going to be able to close that gap, which was, of course, 16 seconds to the race leader, George Simmons, before Simmons made his pit stop. He is back out, is Chris Wood, and
Yeah,
he's
just
going to
fuel.
be in the race lead. He's only taken fuel. Chris Wood, well, he has rolled the dice here,
Simmons
and
heading up to the Ford chicane.
Yeah, he's absolutely miles ahead, is Chris Wood. He's had a 30-second shorter pit stop. And so, well, that's just put the cat among the pigeons, I believe. Very much a chance now for Chris Wood to potentially win this race. But of course, he is on 1 hour, 1 hour older tyres.
Yeah, it's a very good point. That Wood's on older tires, and Simmons is on fresher tires. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes if Simmons can possibly try and catch Wood, or if Wood has enough of an advantage to hold on.
Well, it's 20 seconds between the two of them. How many more laps do we have? So 40 minutes. Or I can do that. 40 divided by 4 is 10. So they've got 10 more laps to go ish. Maybe 11 potentially. So yeah, that would be about 2 seconds a lap then that George Simmons needs to make up. And of course, it's a long old lap here, so 2 seconds is very possible for him. Although that last lap for Simmons was only a 4 minute two, he needs to be going the 4 minute zeros if he's going to make up that gap. We'll wait and see in the closing 40 minutes. What this does mean though is because we are now at the second threshold of this race, points will be awarded at the end of this lap. So Chris Danes is going to win kind of the race two of this evening by just staying out longer than everyone else. So good strategy there for Chris Danes. Whilst he's maybe not going to put himself into the best position in race three, he's still um, yeah going to take away this race two victory, which I think would be his first race victory of the season. If it counts as a race victory, it's difficult to tell.
Yeah, just watching Dane's going through Indianapolis at the moment, and yeah, judging by my rubbish strategy call, if you like, Dane should be pitting at the end of this lap.
You would assume so. And of course, if he does pit at the end of this lap, he will still cross the line first. So yeah, we are now below 40 minutes to go. So yeah, he is going to take 150 points for this victory in the second part of this race. And actually, it's going to be Michael Blake in second place, seemingly, with Chris Wood in third. So, yeah, good luck putting all these points together at the end of this evening. See, he's kind of won in a way. But Chris Danes, will he come into the pits this time? You would expect he will do. Will he take tyres, though? That's probably the more important question. After that very long first pit stop.
I mean, if I was in Dane's shoes, I would maybe
Oh, he's staying
run
out.
out a lot.
Well, this means that he's probably only got one more pit stop to go. I think everyone's got one more pit stop to go, actually. No, sorry. I mean the drive. Oh, I don't even know what I'm saying now. But I think with the drivers who have done 2 stops already, have only got haven't got any more pit stops to do. The drivers who have only done 1 stop so far will have one more stop to do.
Yeah, I think maybe Dane's is trying to stretch out as long as possible. The longer he goes, when he eventually does stop, he does. Excuse me. When he eventually does stop, he doesn't. He might be trying to not trying, or try to not to take a full tank of fuel. Maybe try and just add in the fuel that he needs as Cullinan's going up the inside of right into the corner and up into P12.
Very effective there from Rickon. He's already made his second pit stop. Seems to be about half and half out there in terms of the pit strategies. Half the field have already pitted twice. Half the field have only pitted once so far.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the timing at the moment. It seems yeah, Wood seemed to, for some reason, it says in the live time he had a 450 lap. So I'm not sure if he spun or had an issue.
I think that was just because of his outlap.
Oh, he's out
That
lap.
was
Yeah, I
the
forgot
reason.
about
Yeah.
that. My bad. So yeah, just
Although,
watching.
yeah. So
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm just looking at this battle between Moons and Stevens at the moment as they head into the Ford chicane, and yeah, it's a good run, a good run from Moons at the moment, considering he had some issues with a certain. I can't remember the corner, but yeah, he kept going off at a certain corner and just taking a rallycross line. But yeah, good run from Ronald Moons at the moment.
Yeah, he's had 3 spins at Mulsanne so far. It's to be fair to him, we haven't seen him make a mistake down that corner for about 20 minutes. So, well, actually probably more like half an hour. So he seems to certainly have addressed that now, but he needs to address the number 18 car just behind him, Kip Stevens. He's well, I've been struggling to keep up to date with Kip Stevens' race, but on that last lap, Stevens was 2.5 seconds faster than Ronald Moons. Maybe Moons' tires just costing him a bit of time currently.
Absolutely, as yeah, it seems to be these guys are close together, but it just seems to be when Stevens is right behind him, Ronald just seems to be able to get away ever so slightly and just build up a little bit of a gap between both of them. So yeah, at the moment, both of them are having a good run, and yeah, sitting inside the top 10 at the moment.
Also, Lee Diemer, not too far behind. Diemer currently in 6th place, I think, in the championship. Of course, that's good enough for the showdown spots. And so, these points again for him. He's just been Mr. Consistent so far this season, racking up those points, and that's going to really help his showdown chances. Moons is under even more pressure now from Kip Stevens. I can't see too much damage on that car for Ronald Moons. He just doesn't seem to have the pace at this point in the race. But at the moment, Stevens, who's been very effective so far with this racecraft, has not put a foot wrong so far. Hasn't made his way past the Simmortal race driver just yet, but maybe this is the chance. He was a little bit slow on the corner entry there, Stevens, but really nailed the exit, and he can now edge ahead of his rival. And now the AM Fabrications driver is up into the top 6.
Yep, that was a good move by Stevens up into P6, and he managed to get a good exit on the second Mozan chicane. And as our leader Dens is in the pits, it'll be interesting to see what strategy he goes with, if he goes for fuel and tyres or just fuel only.
Absolutely, that's the real question now.
As this is Tristan Bottas. Oh, sideways. Oh, yeah, through the gravel and just that was he went for a bouncy ride.
Yeah, so far, Bottas hadn't really made a mistake, had he? But unfortunately has now. So Danes is now stationary. Michael Blake. Oh, he's into the pits. That's disappointing. I thought Michael might lead the lap. But yeah, unfortunately he won't do. 44 driver. Wood a little bit wide, and that's not what he needs in his battle with Sims. So Danes, he's
He's
20
leaving the pits.
seconds, and he's leading the pits now. Is he
Oh,
going
is he
to
going
be
to
in the
keep
race
it?
lead here, Chris Danes? He's going to be on the inside against Chris Wood,
This is
who's
going to be
ahead of them.
close.
They're both on very old tyres, and Chris Danes has taken back the
Oh,
race
dangerous.
victory.
Oh,
Race lead, sorry.
yeah, Danger was a bit twitchy on the braking there, and uh, is it? Yeah, Danger's a bit twitchy there on the braking, and yeah, the Wood's right. Wood is right with him, so yeah, we could be on for a battle for the win right here.
No more pit stops for these drivers. Of course, we also need to consider George Simmons in this battle. He's 17 seconds behind these two. And on that last lap was 1.4 seconds faster than Chris Wood. He needs about 2 seconds a lap if he's going to bridge that gap by the end of this race. But this one, which has been a bit of a slow burner, I must say, so far, is really coming alive now. Chris Staines having to defend against Chris Wood
Wood's got the
currently.
run.
Danes made a mistake relinquishing the race lead earlier on. And now, is he going to lose the race lead once again? He's not going to give
Oh,
in, though. Danes is very deep on the brakes. Wood
Wood a
almost
little
shoved
bit
off the
wide.
circuit. And Danes is hanging on for now. But crucially, they're losing themselves time versus George Simmons, who's just in the background there.
Yeah, absolutely. If these guys keep battling, if these guys keep scrapping in mud each other, and they keep costing each other time, Simmons could be right there with him. As yeah, we just see him in the background in the boosted motorsport Porsche. Oh,
Oh,
Wood
Wood
spun.
dropped it. So similar to Danes earlier on, well, he's not going to lose second place for now as Chris Wood, but that might
You
just
need to
be
keep an eye.
a
Oh,
race
Simmons is coming.
victory denying mistake there from Chris Wood. And Chris Danes is all of a sudden perhaps the favourite for this race now. What a mistake.
Yeah, I'm just. I wonder what happened there. That was that's a bit strange. I wonder if he just watching. Oh, he just carried too much speed.
Well, I think, yeah, too much speed and also the old tyres probably didn't help there. That rear grip, it just wasn't there, was it? Just made a small mistake. Michael Blake making a small mistake there as well. He's only 38 seconds off the lead. Oh, and Sam Kumo's off.
Oh,
So Blake is now ahead of Kumo, who's must have just had a few poor laps, unfortunately, for Sam Kumo. He's still looking strong for a 5th place at the end of this one, though. But, yeah, of course, more importantly, of course, Chris Danes out there. Sorry, Chris Wood.
yep. As we just see a replay of Max Wright. What happened here? Max Wright just stops and escapes.
Maybe getting a bit bored out there, Max Wright. Although he was, well, he was kind of the lower part of the field, I think, so he wasn't fighting for too much. These guys still going at it, though. So Cullinan, he's made 2 stops, of course, already, as have most drivers, ahead of Dennis Melcher currently. Melcher, I think, is on old tyres. Yeah, he is, I think. So Cullinan should be able to pull away right now.
Yep. Just watching Melcher at the moment. He's not got major damage, but he's got slight damage to his rear wing and front front end damage on the front right. So yeah, looks like at the moment Cullinan might be able to pull away.
Yeah, next up for Cullinan would be Jamie Ayres. He's 10 seconds ahead, but we've seen so far today Ayres' very strong pace. Ayres has also, of course, pitted twice. He is on old tyres, though. At least according to what I think. Yeah, I think he's on old tyres as Jamie Ayres. It's difficult to tell, but yeah, Cullinan should be able to catch him as well. Not sure, though.
Yep. Just looking through the field to see if there's any other battles going on. I can't really find anything. It seems to be a bit spread out at the moment.
Mortal Moon seems to have quite a significant issue. He's just set a 4-minute 8. I'll just look at his lap times. Yeah, he's been struggling for a while. And was this another mistake here for Mortal Moons, perhaps?
Yeah, he just ran slightly wide on the apex of what corner is that? Arnaz, I think. I
Oh no, I've forgotten.
I
It
forgot.
is Arnage. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I
it
was
is.
right for
Cool.
once. As yeah, just watching that through the field. Stevens is in, Moons is in. Who else is in? I can't really see. Yeah, there's a few cars in the pits anyway. As we look back up towards the front, Chris Wood in second place, and yeah, currently 7 seconds behind our leader Danes. So yeah, that spins cost them some time, but not too much time as it seems.
Well, this has really set up this race nicely now because we've got a situation. Chris Danes, seemingly the 3rd fastest driver out on circuit currently. He's slower than Chris Wood, at least from what we've seen so far today. And he's currently 7 seconds clear with 27 minutes to go. George Simmons is on fresh tyres, though, unlike these 2 drivers. And has so far been absolutely superb, Simmons. Was leading the race by 15 seconds for the majority. Seems to have maybe called the strategy a little bit wrong by changing tyres to Simmons, but he might well recover, and he's currently lapping about 2 seconds a lap faster than the top 2. These 3 could be separated by nothing come the final lap. We'll have to, yeah, hopefully this one really lives up to expectations. It's lining up well currently.
Yeah, I'm just watching just checking the pace of the top three at the moment. They're so close, so close pace wise. I think if if Danes or Wood slips up, and Danes or Wood, yeah, if Danes and Wood slip up, I should say, it could Simmons will be on them in no time.
Yeah, Simmons needs, like I said earlier on, about 2 seconds a lap on those two drivers, which is very possible. We'll certainly keep our eyes on that gap. With Cullinan just ahead of Kip Stevens then. Stevens has only just made his pit stop, I think. So those two are very close to one another. Stevens very much the risk coming to him. Ronald Moons had a really quick stop, seemingly, because he's got ahead of...
Oh, Sam Kummel's
oh,
spun. Yeah, it's just a replay, but yeah, just sorry to interrupt. Yeah, Sam just having issues there, and just ran wide and had a slight little spin. So yeah, but he managed to get going again, and nothing too major.
I'm just looking at Ronald Moon's last pit stop. 16 seconds. He must have literally put a tiny bit of fuel into that car that he needed. And maybe he was fuel saving earlier on. I'm not quite sure. But either way, he's looking very strong now, is Ronald Moons, because he's got ahead of Kip Stevens. He was 10 seconds behind Stevens before the pit stops. He's now ahead. And he's also ahead of Vic Cullen. This could be a fantastic battle to the end, because also Dennis Melcher is also involved in this one as well.
Yep, just watching these guys at the moment, and it's so close together. I think this battle, if the way it's going at the moment, it could go right down to the finish.
Seemingly, Moons hasn't got the pace to pull away from Cullen, who is on significantly fresher tyres. Again, this is just speculative. I have no concrete proof, but pretty much all the drivers who pitted early for their second pit stop took tyres. All the drivers who have pitted recently have not taken tyres. So Cullen is on about our younger tyres than Ronald Moons. And you can see how through the corners, he certainly seems to have the edge currently on his rival. A little bit wide there for Cullen, missing the apex and getting pretty close to the wall as well. And of course, just a small mistake will allow Kip Stevens through.
Yep, absolutely. And if these two guys in front of Stevens slip up, Stevens could be there to pick up the pieces and gain a couple of positions. So yeah, but on the other hand, Stevens has to watch his mother as well, because Meltzer's right behind him.
Just looking at the lap times of the top three on that last lap. Chris Danes, race leader, 2-minute 1.4. Chris Wood, 2-minute... sorry, why am I saying 2 minutes? So, Chris Danes, 4 minutes 1.4. Chris Wood, 4 minutes 2.79. George Simmons, 4 minutes dead, 0.63. So only 8 tenths faster on that last lap for George Simmons. Well, he needs 2 seconds a lap, really. And right now, it looks as though that tyre change earlier on has lost him too much time. He might still catch up to Chris Wood by the end of this race, but his chances of catching up to Chris Danes in the race lead are looking very minimal now.
Yeah, I think the only chance of Simmons catching Danes possibly is if Danes has a spin or makes some mistakes. That could give Simmons a chance of catching up to the to him, and possibly challenge him for the win, as Cullinan's got a run on Moons.
He's not defending. Cullinan into the rev limiter. And now they are pretty much side by side. Neither of them can pull ahead. But Cullinan on the brakes, much stronger. Those fresher tyres helping Rafe Cullinan. And he's up into 8th place. Next up for him, 10 seconds up the road, is Jamie Ayres. With Richard Haynes still the possibility 15 seconds up the road. We'll keep an eye out on their comparative lap times in these cone stages. But now, Cullinan should be able to ditch these guys. Moon, Stevens, and Melchett, though, should carry on battling to the end of the race.
Yep, just basically having another look through the field. I can't really find any any other battles. So I think this battle at the moment is the closest one we've got.
I think Melcher is also on fresh tires. He pitted on the hour mark, did Dennis Melcher, implying that he wanted to perfectly split the tires. Or they might have another pit stop to go. I'm not sure. It's difficult to call this because remember this is an odd race for us. We never have we done a 2 hour long event in the BSR Sundays, but I must say I think this has been a big success. George Simmons has just made a mistake, and that's cost him. Oh, Rick Garland's also made a mistake. He's got a
Oh, that
slowdown, and after making a move for eighth place, he's just dropped 3 very unnecessary positions.
yeah, I was just looking to see what happened. I wonder if is it, oh he just ran wide a little bit. Just yeah, it just looks like he carried too much speed. And yeah, looking at Cullinan as well, you just got to slow down.
Yeah, as he just cut this corner. Yep, there you go. It'd be handy if those bollards you could actually crash into. That would be more of a deterrent than a invisible slowdown, but there you go. All side by side here between Moons and Stevens. Stevens was so close at getting the move into Indianapolis, and this might be the
Ooh.
chance for Kip Stevens, but Ronald Moons sweeps round. And well, you can see how close Dennis Melcher is on the back of this. What a fantastic battle amongst these four, with Lee Diemer only 3 seconds behind. You can just see him in the background of a couple of these shots.
Yeah, if it oh, excuse me, as if these guys keep battling away, it could give Deemer uh, a chance to catch up to these guys and possibly make it a what we got at the moment at 1, 2, 3, 4, make it a 5 car battle. So yeah, good battle between these guys at the moment, and no one's given an inch.
Moons is only a tenth faster Stevens so far. His race craft has been absolutely
Stevens
superb. And he's
Stevens
going
got
to go
Stevens
on
got
the
the
inside
wrong.
here into Dunlop curve. Now heading into Dunlop chicane. And he's got the move done. And he's going to lose a couple of positions. He might lose 3 positions here. Could Ronald Moons in the space of 2 corners? Well, that's unlucky for Moons because he didn't do a whole lot wrong. Richard Haynes has just made a mistake. He's had a couple of poor laps as Richard Haynes. He set a 4-minute 8 on the last one, and I think he may have just spun it by himself going through this chicane.
Yeah, he just got in the power and just looped it round. So yeah, nothing major for him. Managed to get it going again, and yeah, nothing major happened as we ride on board with Simmons. I wonder if Simmons made a mistake again. Oh,
Yeah,
he
yes, yeah.
lost the entry.
Wow. Well, I was fearing that he was going to run away with this race victory earlier on, but a mistake with the strategy, changing tires, despite seemingly it's really not being worth it, and it's forced him to push extremely hard to make up for that strategic error. And
Oh,
spinner in the background is at Ronald Moons again,
that's me.
and from running in eighth place less than a lap ago, this one's gone very sour for the Simmortal driver.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. I missed that unfortunately, but yeah, just looking at a replay now, and I wonder what happened here. Looks fine in the entry, and yeah, he just got in the power and he spun round.
Well, that's again the old tyres seemingly. These drivers losing their rear grip. Cullinan now side by side. Remember, he's the one with fresh tyres out of these guys, and if it weren't for a slowdown, he'd be up the road by now. He's ahead now of Kip Stevens. I think Stevens realizing that Cullinan's going to beat him eventually with 17 minutes to go, and now Cullinan is going to be able to do the honor of moving up into 8th place for the second time in about 3 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems to be Cullinan seems to be the quicker out of these guys due to the fresh rubber he's got, but he just can't seem to get by Melcher at the moment. But he's got a run of Melcher as a head up to Indianapolis, and if oh, please don't do it, Cullinan, please don't do it.
where he's going to be able to pull fully ahead.
Oh, nice
Fantastic
move.
straight line speed for Viv Cullen. You can see there's not a scratch on that car, seemingly, unlike the driver he's just overtaken, the team man driver of Dennis Melcher. You can see a few scratches on that, particularly the rear wing, with a bit of a bump on it. But Cullen, don't make another mistake. But you can see how the traction from that corner really strong for Cullen. And next up for him will be Richard Haynes. He could get a top 6 out of this one. Potentially Cullen. Ayres is 12 seconds up the road. It's unlikely, but it is a distinct possibility. But certainly Haynes and the Project 4 racing team not too far up the road for Cullen now to catch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Cullinan's managing to pull away from Meltzer ever so slightly, and if Cullinan can get away from Meltzer and try and catch up to Haynes, he could possibly gain another position towards the end of this race.
Yeah, 15.5 minutes to get it done, has Dave Cullinan. It would just be frustrating they got that slow down earlier on, because if it weren't for that, he'd almost certainly be overtaken. He'd almost. Oh, he spun it
What?
again! Cullinan. Well,
Cullinan,
he
come
keeps on
on.
compromising his race. He could have had an easy 7th place by now, but all of a sudden, a top 8 is looking unlikely.
Yeah, just not sure what happened here. First part of the 40 seconds fine, entry's fine, exit's not fine. Yeah, just tries to get in the power, and as the car's still bouncing, he tries to get in the power, and he just ends up spinning it.
Yeah, I was mentioning earlier when we were riding on board with Sam Kuhn how these drivers weren't taking too much curb. You can kind of see why, because we've seen several times today, particularly in those forward chicanes, once you get onto those sausage curves, even if the driver kind of backs out of it, gets a little bit tentative, still the rear end can very easily come round. And, well, yeah, shows the difficulty of the curves, even in a car such as this.
Yep. As we look, if we look, as we look back up to our leader, I should say, De- the Danes at the moment. Yeah, he's currently got a comfortable gap to Wood behind him. So yeah, the only person that can challenge Danes as it stands is Mr. Wood behind him. So yeah, it's still all to play for.
Yeah, on that last lap, Wood was 1.3 seconds faster. However, we've only got, well, we've got probably, oh, my maths isn't very good. 4 more laps? 4 more laps, I think we've got in this race. So, 5.5 seconds. He needs about what, 1.1 a third, 1.3 seconds per lap, I think. So if he can keep that up as we yeah, they're about to cross the line now. So Chris Danes is about to cross the line. It's going to be a 4 minutes. 1.21. Chris Wood does a 4 minute 0.62. So only 6/10 of a second faster on that lap. He needs about 1.3 seconds per lap. The gap is down to 5.5 seconds now.
Yep. If yeah, as you say, if Wood wants to catch up to Danes, he needs to be about basically between 1 second or 1.5 seconds a lap quicker, just to try and close that gap. But as it stands, it's basically Danes' race to lose.
Yeah, of course, both of them have made a mistake. So, oh, and going for a move here
Melcher up the inside.
is Melcher. And he's going to be past Richard Haynes. So Haynes seemingly with a big issue out there. That can't just be the tyres. He did a 4 minute 15 on that last lap. I wonder if he's a little bit low on fuel, because he did have a very quick stop, I think, did Richard Haynes.
Yeah, not sure. Not sure what happened. I wonder if Haynes is fuel saving a little bit, or if it was just a just a mistake from him. But yeah, he's got Stevens in front of him and Milchett in front of Stevens to try and battle away with, or if he needs to fuel save as Stevens gets it slightly wrong in the middle of the Porsche curves. Oh, Simmons made a mistake again.
Well, it's fortunate for Simmons that he's about half a minute clear of Michael Blake currently. Simmons just having to push so hard to make up the gap. He was already out of the running for the win. And, well, too much curb again a little bit there. The combination of the curb and the speed, too much for Simmons. And, well, it is his first Porsche race to defend him, I guess. But, yeah, that strategy call has really cost him today.
Yeah, I think taking tires was the wrong way to go. So taking tires is just costing too much time. I think in hindsight, I guess with him not racing in the series before, it was kind of it was just take a risk and see if it pays off. But yeah, uh, if he races again, at least he knows how to. He just needs to take fuel only if he wants to. That is. But oh well, George is a quick driver, and if he races again in the future in the series, I think he'll give some of the quick guys up at the front a run for their money.
Yeah, we certainly hope to see him back, George. He's certainly got kind of material, maybe even to get into the showdown, despite missing a lot of rounds. This round 5 of the season, I think. Steve Hefford, well, yeah, in that Crystal Palace livery, once again having a bit of an issue. I don't know why it really if that was a Crystal Palace car, I wouldn't even blink twice. You know, if that was a Crystal Palace Porsche. I'm trying to think of a Crystal Palace player. Glenn Murray? Is he still playing for Palace? Anyone on
Eh,
the chat, please correct me. Um, Punchin. That's it, Jason Punchin. I think he plays for Palace still. Basically, if that was his car, he should get that car. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, Melcher, not in a Crystal Palace car, instead in a Team Mad car, and he's under pressure from Stevens still. These two going at battle for quite a few laps now. They have dropped Richard Haynes. Cullen then coming back for, well, seemingly the 5th time out there. He might catch these guys by the end of this race, but right now it's all about can Stevens get the move on Melcher. He wasn't quite close enough going into Molson Con, but you can see all that damage on Melcher's car. It's going to be costing him down the straights. Cullinan now ahead of Haynes.
yep. As Haynes got a little bit sideways there in the exit. Yeah, just looking at a replay now to see what happened between these guys. Cullinan up the inside and gets the move done into before the corner, and yeah, if Cullinan didn't make too many mistakes, I think he could have been higher up in the field. But yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, well, Jamie has just set a 4 minute 7. So he lost 5 seconds in comparison to the drivers around him. Yeah, if it weren't for his mistakes, Colin, he could have well been fighting with Jamie Ayres right now. But that's not the way that this race has turned out, and instead he's going to do very well to get a 7th place from this.
Yep, just looking through the field, and yep, Steve Hefford has caught right up to who's that in front of him? Oh, it's I thought I was Matt's right for a minute, but it's a Team Mad car, which is Tristan Bottas, I believe, but Bottas is a lap in front of Hefford, I think.
No, I think this is
Oh,
for position.
oh yeah, yeah, my bad.
Rodis was having a great run earlier. Well, he's still running in 13th place, to be fair. I don't want to be too harsh on him. He is 27 seconds behind 12th place, so there's quite a divide, yeah, between those two positions. Here is Scott Malcolm, and he's going at wars with Anthony Jacobson currently. So Malcolm, he's had a couple of issues so far, and he's now lost out to Jacobson, who started from the pits. Oh, that must have. Oh, wait, I've just remembered. Of course, that's why so many drivers started or didn't qualify because they had penalties. Of course, there was a bit of chatter on the Facebook group. And that's kind of why Chris Wood starts down in 18th place because of a penalty from Imola, I believe. And if it weren't for that, you wonder whether or not he could have run away with this victory. But as it is, he's 4 seconds behind Chris Danes on that last lap. Wood was 1.2 seconds faster than the race leader. 4 seconds between the two of them, like I said, and they've got two more laps to go after this one. So if he can take two seconds a lap out of Chris Danes, he might stand a chance. Is Chris Danes just going through traffic right now? I wonder if that's going to lose him a bit of time.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Uh, I've not got a clue.
We can see a couple of cars just ahead, can't they? That is, oh dear, I'm trying to look. So that's Wright and Taylor, I think, just ahead. I think Hefford's not too far ahead either. No, Hefford's miles up the raceway. So don't worry about Steve Hefford. These are pretty much the only two cars that he's going to have to pass in terms of traffic. To gap down below 4 seconds now. So this has been a strong lap for Chris Wood. This is not over yet, and you can see already Chris Danes. Well, it's not Stuart McFlashing, certainly not him, but Chris Danes deploying some flashing right now to help his chances of this race victory. Is he going to lose a bit of time here? Yes, he is. And these couple of tenths that he's losing through the forward chicanes is not going to help him whatsoever.
Oh,
His
oh,
exit
come
is
on, Taylor, get out of
compromised,
the way.
and Chris Danes had to get on the brakes there, and he's lost well, at least half a second on that last lap. Chris Danes does a 4-minute 1.38. He's lost over a second on that last lap to Chris Wood. The gap down to 3 seconds, 2 laps to go.
Yeah, that was a. Who was it? Haynes, sorry, I mean Danes get sideways on the exit of turn one. Yeah, that was pretty that was pretty shoddy driving by Daniel Taylor there. He could have let the leader go as soon as he could, maybe on the straight heading to the Ford chicane. But I can understand he's in a battle with Max Wright as well, so it's kind of 50-50. What do you do?
Whereas compromise Wood as well a little bit. Now, can Wood get this next driver? Yes, he can, but he's not going to really profit with the slipstream, which maybe Wood would have been hoping for. He didn't lose too much time. In Sector 1, he actually gained 2 tenths on Chris Danes. In Sector 2, well, they haven't actually got to Sector 2 yet. He's lost half a tenth as Chris Wood through Sector 2, so not too bad for the Team Mad driver, despite having to overtake that traffic. Ronald Moons.
Oh, it's not in the same
Oh
corner again.
dear. Well, he'll
I
be
think
having nightmares about
I think he likes the gravel.
that. Like a sand play area, yeah.
Yep, yeah, we're looking back up at the front towards our two leaders, Danes and Wood, and yeah, just looking at the straight there, both of them in the same shot. I think it's fair to say that the gap has come down ever so slightly again.
Remember, these two fought for the race victory in Snetterton, race 3. If you haven't seen the conclusion of that, please go onto our Facebook page. It'll be quite far down. I posted it a couple of weeks ago, but it's the best and worst thing I've ever created. That video. It only takes up 12 seconds of your time. Certainly watch it if you can. But in the end, yeah, that day it was Chris Wood actually profiting from a collision with between Chris Danes and Stuart McFadden that day. Will it be a mistake once again from Danes? He's now 2.75 seconds ahead of Chris Wood. He's lost 4 tenths so far on this lap. And we've got one more lap to go at the end of this one. It's fantastic pressure. It's been 2 hours so far. And despite these two drivers both making their individual mistakes, Ryan, it's coming down to this last this last lap of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are so evenly matched that this battle has gone down right down to the last lap. I think as Danes gets a little bit twitchy there on the exit, it's Taylor off in the Taylor half sideways in the background. Yeah, these guys are evenly matched, and it's this battle for the win. I think will go right down to the last corner on the last lap. But what's they're coming up to? in a few moments' time.
Would not quite well. We're now going through the Porsche curves. This is where, if you've got a little bit more grip, of course these drivers have got same age tires, but certainly Wood, this is where he can make it up a bit of time because the rest of the circuit is pretty much just straight. So through these corners, he's really got to make use, but he's only gained about a tenth of a second through that section of corners. He's about 7/10 up on this lap, but with one lap to go now for Chris Staines, the winner of stage 2 in this race. And currently, well, he has just lost a little bit of time actually there as Chris Wood, down
Would
to
just close
2
the gap slightly.
seconds. Yeah, so yeah, on that last lap, Chris Wood gained 6/10 of a second. He needs to gain 2.2 seconds though on this last lap. He might just come short, but of course, as we so often say at Le Mans, fuel could be a factor as well.
Yep, I think if just watching now, just checking to see what the gap is, and I think mm, I'm not sure if I was
Oh,
it.
he's made a mistake, so Chris Wood. He's
Oh,
dropped
he's made a
a
mistake.
couple of seconds.
Yeah, that's gave Danes a bit enough of a buffer then to go around and to the end of the race. Not sure. Just watching the replay now to see what happened to Wood.
Oh, it's a slowdown.
Oh, the slowdown.
Oh, must have been so painful for Chris Wood there. And he's now, well, he had got the gap down to about 1.9 seconds. It's up to 3.8 now. And as long as Chris Danes doesn't have any fuel issues or doesn't make any mistakes, he should be home
Oh,
and dry.
someone's made a mistake.
Oh, again. He's got half a minute though to Michael Blake. He should be okay. But what a mistake this has been. And Michael Blake actually, I think, making his own mistakes up there as well.
Jamie Ayres has got to slow down as well. Oh, he's out. Is he out of fuel? Oh, he's
Oh,
out of fuel.
well, and it's a lap and a bit early as well for Jamie S. He was running very slow lap times, and he's misjudged that one by a long way.
Oh, he's one lap short of fuel. Ah, Jamie.
Does mean that Dennis Melcher is up into 6th place, a minute behind Sam Kume in 5th. Kip Stevens is up into 7th, and Dave Cullen somehow back up into the top 8 now.
Yep. Oh, that was so heartbreaking for Jamie. He was having a good run as well. So, uh, I don't know if he's maybe. No, I was going to say I don't know if he slowed down or just pulled off the slowed down just to let the leaders come by and get going again due to the lack of fuel. But I think he's run out of fuel and nothing he could do. Yeah, he's escaped back to the pits. Oh man, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, super frustrating. Just misjudging that fuel. Have either of these top 2 misjudged their fuel? Certainly Chris Danes will be having, yeah, everything crossed that he possibly can right now. Because he's 3 seconds out in the lead still, the Project 4 racing driver. After a mistake cost earlier on, which I must confess, I thought that was his chances of the race out. But another mistake from Chris Wood as well when following behind, trying to take back the race lead, has cost him as well. But it seems as though Chris Danes, with a perfectly executed strategy, he's only got the Porsche curves and the Ford chicanes to execute one more time, and that would be enough for him. Lee Demers had to come into the pits as well. So both of those drivers seemingly running out of fuel on their last lap.
Yep. The Danes just needs to watch in front of him. He's got Steve Hefford in front of him, who's he's coming up to the lap. I wonder if Steve will slow down before the Ford chicane and just let Danes go.
I hope so, otherwise we're going to have to watch Steve Pepper do an entire lap. Which, no offense to Steve Pepper, I just don't want to, you know, I won't go through the science after. Basically, it's a long lap, but Chris Danes is approaching the final few chicanes. And he's going to surely take stage 3 in this race after winning stage 2. After starting on pole position as well in this race. He's got the final chicane to execute. Chris Danes is going to win here at Le Mans. And
Oh,
that's a
Wood spun in the
fantastic
background.
performance. Chris Wood has dropped it in the final chicane. It doesn't matter because he's way clear of George Simmons. And, well, he'll be ruining that mistake with about half an hour to go when he was following Chris Danes, fighting for the race lead, and he spun it. We've still got battles going on, though, and we've still got them going on for
Yep,
another
yep,
couple of minutes.
Stephen's gone
Kip
after it.
Stevens is round the outside of Dennis Melcher. Melcher has hung on to this one so well so far, and he's still just ahead. Ridkonen made a mistake earlier on this lap, otherwise he'd be right with these guys. But you can see he's just a little bit distant. Kip Stevens has got the better straight line speed, and he's moving a tenth clear of his rival. Dipping back into the slipstream now is Dennis Melcher, and he's going to try to retaliate going into Indianapolis. But is that damage on that car just causing a little bit too much drag for the Team Mad driver? He's going to look to the outside here into Indianapolis.
Oh, too
Ronald
wide.
Moons, what a move this could be. And he's made it. Sorry, Dennis Melcher, apologies. Having to go defensive now
Unfortunate.
into Arnage. Stevens almost into the back of him. Round the outside he goes, and he's almost going to be off the circuit here. Melcher just about fending off. Cullinan just hoping these drivers come together. What a final half a lap these two are putting on for us. Melcher just ahead still, but they're going to be side by side, potentially into the Porsche
Is it
curves.
gonna go too wide through the port though? Oh, I was
Kip
gonna say.
Stevens moves ahead though. Melcher, can he retaliate?
Oh,
They make
contact!
contact, and Melcher's going to surely lose a position or two
Boing!
because he's nearly into the wall. He's going to lose a position to Rafe Khan, he's miles clear of Tristan Bottas. Well, he wasn't going to give up on that one there, Brian, but Kip Stevens, in the end, moves himself up into the top six.
Yeah, I have to say, I don't think anyone was at fault for that move. I think it was just a racing incident, and I think Dennis tried to turn into the corner when Stevens was still moving up the inside. So yeah, it was just one of those racing incidents, and it was a good move by Stevens, but really unlucky for Dennis. But out of all that, Cullinan managed to gain a position.
Well, Khan made a mistake as well in sector one of that lap, I think. And if it weren't for that, he would have been right with those guys right at the end of the race. But instead, he yeah couldn't quite get close enough, and he'll end up in seventh place. Of course, with a couple of spins as well, he'll be pretty happy to recover that. Tristan Bottas, he's going to be in ninth place. Um, Issues for other drivers out there with fuel and whatnot. Well, he's kept it clean as Tristan Bottas, more than other drivers, I must say. And that's going to be a very nice result from 21st on the grid. You can see Lee Deemer, well, not directly behind him. Lee Deemer 16 seconds behind. But Tristan Bottas will finish in ninth place and Lee Deemer in 10th. But I guess we can talk about the overall race winner, Ryan, Chris Danes. Like I said earlier on, I really thought his chances were gone when he spun coming out of that chicane, coming out of the fourth chicane. Lost him 10 seconds, but to come back the way he did, to pull off a perfect strategy was extremely impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a fantastic drive by Chris Danes. It was just it was so hard to predict a winner in that race. That was just, even though the field was spread out a little bit, there was always battles. There was always a battle going on throughout that race, and especially that battle with Stevens and Melcher on the last lap. That was fantastic to watch. And yeah, Chris Danes, that was a fantastic drive by him, and he managed to keep his cool and bring it to the finish and win the race. And yeah, fair play to the guy. I was just he kept a cool head.
Absolutely. Sorry, oh dear. Richard Haynes.
Oh, the
He's out
Richard
of
Haynes
fuel,
thing.
if
My
you
bad.
can guess. He's got his clutch on, and fortunately, there's no hills through this part of the circuit, and he will
Come
be able
on,
to
is he gonna
finish in
make it? Is he gonna
11th.
make it?
Yeah, he'll be fine. 54 kilometers an hour still, and he will cross the line. Ronald Means is the only other driver out there. You can see, uh,
Oh, he
Ro-
gets it.
Ronald must have. Oh, did he run out of fuel?
Oh, he must have. Yeah, I think he had to make a splash and dash.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, he pitted. He didn't tow. He did actually pit with a lap to go, and that's why he's so far behind. Ronald Means will be absolutely kicking himself because remember he was running up in. He was running ahead of Kip Stevens literally about 25 minutes ago, and Stevens finished in sixth. Ronald Means he's going to finish in 12th place, which is going to be a little bit disappointing from his perspective, but still put on a very good show. And I think, Ryan, this format, it works, doesn't it? These 2 hour races, especially when you've got the stages as well every 40 minutes. Bring on more of these races, I think, with the 2 hour format.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was a bit skeptical, or not skeptical, but a bit unsure with this format for tonight. With it being a 2-hour race, I thought it was just going to be, if I'm honest, I thought it was going to be a wreck fest in the early stages of the race. But everyone seemed to drive sensibly and use their brain and not do anything silly. And yeah, tonight was a great race, and absolutely, I would love to see more of these races in the future, and even possibly, even just to spice it up a little bit, they have some driver swaps included.
Ooh, I would certainly be up for that. But at the end of this race, at least, stage 3, remember, this was. So it's not all the points are decided by these results, but some of the points are distributed by these results, and also it's multiplied. It's the proper finish of the race. Chris Danes wins ahead of the other Chris Wood. They both had a spin each. They can't feel too sorry for himself, Chris Wood, I think, seeing that Danes made a similar mistake. But yeah, fantastic duel between those two. George Simmons, well, it was looking easy for him. He won stage 1, but then changed tyres. And from that point onwards, his race very much went southwards a bit, has to push extremely hard in the closing stages, which caused a couple of mistakes. Michael Blake, well done to him. A minute off the lead, but he pretty much made no mistakes up there. He was very under the radar. He ends up in 4th place. Sam Kumo, only just behind in the end. He made a couple of mistakes in the closing stages. He finishes in 5th from starting on the front row. Kip Stevens starting in 19th due to penalties. He was 2.25 minutes behind the race leader in the end, but he will be very pleased with 6th place. Well done to him. Then was Dennis Melcher, Vic Cullinan, Tristan Boyce, and Lee Demon rounding out the top 10. Behind that was Richard Haynes, Ronald Moons, Steve Hefford, Daniel Taylor, Max Wright, Jamie Ayres, Scott Malcolm, Ferenc Kern. Well done to him for staying out there. He was a lap down, but trade for pretty much 2 hours with a severely damaged car. Then it was Anthony Jacobson, 2 laps down. Carl Hardy was 4 laps down, then 20 laps down was Michael Hall, 21 laps down. Jim Flanagan, and in 23rd place, Adam McNair was 27 laps down. Thompson, White, and Kirby did not take the start. And hopefully, I always say this. Hopefully, we'll get some interviews with drivers. And guess what? We are going to get some interviews with drivers. First off, we'll chat with our stage 2 and stage 3 winner, Chris Danes. Chris, really well done out there. Your pace in the end pretty much recovered you from that bit of a mistake. I must ask, when you had that spin coming out of the final chicane, did you think that was kind of game over, race win over?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit of a scary moment. I must admit that was the only mistake I made in the entire race, and I think I dropped about 8 seconds in the end from Chris. He had better pace than me all race really, by a few tenths each lap. So when he got past me, I thought I'd just tuck in behind him and use him just to pull me along, maybe save a bit of fuel for the next fuel stop. But yeah, once I dropped it there, I just hit the curb too hard and spun around. I thought second or third place is probably the best I can get. But yeah, so that was a bit heart and mouth situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And the track temperature, 18 degrees. Did that kind of affect your decision to not change tires out there, or were you always going to not change tires despite the track temperature?
I was always never going to change tyres, to be honest. The tyres really last well on these, and I've done a lot of testing with my teammate Richard Haynes, and done a lot of laps and figured out strategies way before this race began. So I always knew I was never going to change tyres. So when I saw who was in the lead in the beginning, who pulled away,
Simmons, yeah,
Simmons.
George
That's right. Yeah.
Simmons.
When Simmons came in and he changed tyres, I thought, well, that's a position taken easily there. So I was never going to change tyres, but I did adjust my fuel slightly in the second part of that race to actually get ahead of Chris because I was 8 seconds behind before I made the pit stop. So I had to try something and really cut it tight for fuel to get ahead of him and then keep track position really.
Yeah, when you came out of the pits, you were a couple of tenths ahead of Chris Wood, and that was absolutely crucial. And then he made the mistake, which really compromised him. I guess at that point you must have been pretty pleased, but at the same time had to keep your concentration because he was coming back at you really fast in those closing stages.
Yeah, pleased is an understatement. I was actually screaming on the mic to my teammate. I couldn't believe I was actually leading this particular race of all the races to be in contention of winning. I never even dreamt I'd be anywhere near the front of this one. So yeah, it was really tricky. So when he dropped it, I knew he'd come back at me because I knew he was faster than me. So towards the end there, it was tricky trying to keep the pace because I was doing consistent 401. So it was just to keep that pace up with the tyres in the state they were after 2 hours was tricky. But yeah, made it and done it in the end. So yeah, well chuffed.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are your aims for this championship? Are you hoping to kind of stick with it for the entire season and maybe fight for the championship when it comes to the showdown?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sticking with it, and I'll stick with it for the entire year. The aim now, really, I mean, I've had a couple of real bad rounds, so I probably won't be looking at winning the championship. But if I can get myself back into the showdown positions and maybe a top 5 in the championship, I'll be over the moon, to be honest. So yeah, before this round, I said to myself, I'm just going to enjoy it now. I was taking it way too seriously before. My results were getting a bit iffy, let's say. So now I've came into this just sort of with a smile on my face just to enjoy it. I've actually done a lot better than I thought I would. So maybe that's the plan moving forward.
Yeah, potentially. And before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, you guys, of course, great job and great commentary as ever. Lee Deemer for hosting the session, my teammate Rich Haynes for putting in the time and the laps with me. And that's it, really, I think. I don't have many other people to thank other than those. So thanks a lot, guys. Chip, appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, cheers, lads. Thanks.
We've also got George Simmons with us as well. George, before the race, you mentioned how it was your first ever race in the Porsche, and maybe that uh, option to change the tires maybe just showed that yeah, maybe you're not quite as experienced as the other guys. That cool, it could have worked out, but in the end, it just wasn't going to be your day.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I was thinking that for the whole second half of the race when they were all drive off in front of me. Like, I'll just put this one down to inexperience. But I was just doing everything I could in the final third of the race to push as hard as I can. And then I started, I don't know how much you saw on the broadcast, but I started making a few mistakes. But no, the other guys did well. Man.
I think we picked up on all of them. But yeah, you were having to push so hard at the end there just to make up the gap. But focusing on the positives, you won the first split race or whatever they're called, the first stage after 40 minutes. And those early stages, you seem to really be the fastest driver out on circuit. Were you kind of following Chris Danes to save a bit of fuel, or were you just struggling to make that overtake in the early stages?
Funnily enough, I was more worried about the tyres than the fuel. I knew from the start exactly how much fuel I was going to put in. I think Sam and I had pretty much exactly the same strategy planned out. Um, and yeah, I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to do this in only one set of tyres, and the other guys are probably going to pit for 2 sets. And I thought I had the jump on everybody, and then what do you know? They come out the pits 20 seconds in front of me at the end of the second stop, and I was left looking a bit silly, I think. But no, yeah, I was just chilling out behind him. I was trying to just let him use his tyres up and tire himself out, and then in the toe at least I was comfortable, so I just kind of sat there.
Yeah, and it's yeah. In your defense, I certainly thought changing tires would be necessary, and I commentate on this series every week, so you're not the only one. Are you hoping to do many more rounds of this championship? It's been great to have you in this series for the first time, but are you hoping to do many of the remaining rounds of the championship?
Yeah, I just knew I was available this weekend on a Sunday. I thought I'd see what racing was on. Usually I'm not around often enough to be a regular, but yeah, you might well see me pop in once or twice again. I mean, it's been a good little race there, and I can imagine with the sprint races that you guys normally do, it's probably lots and lots of fun. So yeah, you could well see me back again, definitely.
Yeah, it certainly would be great to see you again. Before we let you go, any shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, I guess rooting for my boys Boosted, who I started off with my BSR career with, and then obviously a little bit to Apex as well, who I'm driving for in Kia Cup. And also, yeah, thanks a lot to you guys for putting on a nice broadcast. I'm looking forward to watching all my crashes at the end back.
Thanks, George, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot. See you. Bye.
And of course, we couldn't deny our residential Sam Kumo. Sam, really well done up there. That was a very solid result. 5th place in the end. A couple of mistakes near the end of that race, but certainly that first half of the race, you were really fighting for those podium positions well.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of cruising, trying to get used to the car, and yeah, there was a couple of brain farts in the chicane, but other than that, it was mostly fine, really. I didn't see what happened at the start because it looked like a couple of the fast guys got caught up in some incident because I didn't see them coming up through the field.
Yeah, I think Firenze had a bit of an issue, and a couple of the other Firenze had a lot of issues on the first lap. To be honest, he got wiped out a couple of times in the end. But in the end, yeah, a decent result for you. What was going on with Michael near the end of that race? He seemed to be closing in on him quite significantly by the end of it. Was he struggling on fuel, and were you struggling on fuel as well? We saw a bit of an issue up and down the field.
No, I had no issue. Like I got the strategy from Ferenc, and well, to be fair, because I was running a little bit slower, so I had plenty of extra, maybe 2 or 3 laps extra. And for Michael, I think he was just taking it easy because I mean he has to maybe consider the points, whereas I'm not running for the championship, so I was just hot lapping, and that's about it, I think.
And looking forward to next week. Do you know where it is?
Yes, it is Silverstone GP.
Ooh, that'll be good. Feeling confident about that one?
Certainly more confident than Imola last week, and like Silverstone and the next one, which is Spa. At least those I know fairly well, so it should be no issue, I think.
Yeah, certainly hope so. And before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, Apex Racing UK and also the wonderful guys at the Apex Racing TV who put up a great show every week here for the BSR Porsche. And yeah, Ferenc for the strategy and giving some good tips there. And then JCL Sim Racing and whatever else we have. But also remember to watch next week's race and whatever we have coming up.
Yes, of course. Certainly do tune in for that. But yeah, thanks, Sam. And yeah, we will, well, sure, we'll see you on Apex Racing TV very soon.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers.
So I think that pretty much wraps us out. Yeah, thanks for tuning into this race. Tomorrow, oh, we don't have World GT. That's sad, isn't it? That's championships gone for a few months. So, BSR MX5 Day is on Tuesday though, and then Le Mans Series on Wednesday. Then BSR TC Pro Series. That's the first round of showdown as well. So that's actually quite important. Wait, what? No, it's a break, isn't it? Oh dear. So that's not. It's not a very good week. Don't you been tuning into Apex Racing TV this week? It's not very good. Clearly, don't. I was joking. Saturday. I think it's the team stream for the World Championship Grand Prix Series. I might be wrong. That might be next week. Oh, it is on this week. Cool. And then Sunday, we will actually have the iRacing Grand Prix Championship Series. That's usually very good fun. So tune in for that. And then, of course, yeah, if you've enjoyed today's broadcast, tune in next week as well. We'll be going back to the conventional sprint races, 3 sprint races. So certainly tune in for that. But for now, from me, from Ryan, and from Marco, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next time.